Tudo spoon, to be para la discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Fonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment. Yes,
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South Band. Charges on the beat.
Okay, folks, what a way to welcome you. Your favorite program on radio and online. Spoon Talk is back on the airway. Of course, we live on Spoon 107.5 FM, Fabric Radio 101.1 FM. We're live on Super 95.5 FM as well. That's for radio. Online, we live on Spoon TV Live, Fabric TV Live, and Super TV Live. We're also on YouTube at Spoon Talk Live. And so we want to say thanks to all of you who have joined us tonight. Thanks for making up time, allowing us in your homes and your different locations tonight. This is one edition of the Spoon Talk you can't afford to miss. Encourage someone to listen with you. My name is Nelson Colette. James Goodday Flomo is here. And let me say good evening to Dr. Richardson as well. Good evening, James. Good evening, Dr. Richardson. I think it should be good afternoon for Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, you are muted.
Yes, how you guys doing today?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good.
I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. It's good to hear. Well, we are back again. Want to welcome everybody to Spoon.
You getting us, Claire?
Yes, I am.
No, Nelson.
Yeah, I'm getting you. I was just doing a little bit of adjustment here, but I think it's okay now.
Yeah.
Once you can hear me, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. So want to welcome all of our viewers, listeners, Facebook followers to Spoon. We're really happy that you are here with us today. It's going to be another spirited discussion about training issues in our country. And we hope that the information that you receive, you'll be able to process it and use it to make better decisions for our country. So let's go to Nelson, and Nelson can tell us what's going on in Liberia, and then we're going to go over to Good Day.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Richardson. And yeah, so a lot of things, so many things happening in the country, and Liberians are talking about a whole lot right now, and especially with election being around the corners. The electoral issues have formed part of almost all of the talking points, almost everywhere. But to begin with, of recent there has been word of words. Liberians have been talking about, have been raising concerns about the way political actors would take onto their pulpits, uh, their places of worship, and use it to respond to their opponents and so forth. So a group under the banner the National Pastoral Network for Peace, that group is recommending an enactment of a law that will create a Ministry of Religious Affairs. A Ministry of Religious Affairs. So the group of pastors are saying that they want a law that will ensure that we have a Ministry of Religious Affairs. So that ministry, when created, will be able to now regulate all religious activities in the country. And now, according to them, once this is passed into law, that ministry will take action against individuals who go ahead using the religious setting to make make these kinds of political statements. It will regulate religious activities. Who becomes a pastor, who is not a pastor, who is a politician, or who is a political pastor, or whatever. So that group is calling for such a ministry. They want the legislature to enact a law that will ensure that we have the Ministry of Religious Affairs. So
people brave in our country. People brave in our country.
So yeah, so that's one of the issues. Now the next one is
now say hold on, I'm asking James. He said people brave in Liberia. Asking why did he say that?
Oh, I did not hear you. People brave in our country.
Why do you say that?
They are different, Nelson.
Yeah, so, you don't want a Ministry of Religious Affairs.
Religious Affairs.
To decide who to evaluate who is a pastor or who is not a pastor.
Yeah. For example,
I call people to be pastor.
No, well, if they call you, then you gotta get your certificate or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Then the ministry will regulate
religious activities.
Yeah.
For example, if Senator Prince Johnson is a pastor or a politician, maybe if the president is a pastor or a politician, a ministry that will play that kind of role to regulate who does what.
Anyways, I just believe that the Bible, though I'm not deep into it, but what I've been hearing from preacher guys and what I read, the little I read, when it comes to the Bible, it's about calling. It's not about law to say you have to reach it. There are people, I knew a guy, I think he's dead now. Yes, he died a couple of years ago, who did not go to school at all. He did not sit in ABC class, but that fellow used to read the Bible from start to end. He used to read the Bible, but when you give him different book to read, no way. You write his name equal to this building, he will never recognize the first letter. But he used to read the Bible from start to end. And this guy did not go to school. I think he died in car accident 4 or 5 years ago. Yes, I know people. I know people who they now go to pastoral school, but they can preach well. For me, when it comes to the Bible, I don't want to put my mouth there because that God business.
So, but I have a question though. Don't we have the Council of Churches and the National Muslim either association or something? Why are they?
We have the Council of Churches.
They have them,
and then we have the Inter-Religious Council. The Liberian Council of Churches is basically,
and then the National
it's basically
Muslim
about the churches.
Yeah.
So we have three groups.
Uh-huh.
We have the Liberian Council of Churches, which is basically concerned about the Christian side of the religious practice. We have the National Muslim Council, which is basically concerned about the Islamic aspect of religious activities in the country. And then we have the Inter-Religious Council, which comprises of Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and other different religions in the country.
So those three organizations,
but they are included here.
Just to do some correction there. Not all churches in Liberia are part of the religious council. Not all churches. Who doing this?
I don't know.
Yeah, the person has to stop. Not all churches in Liberia are part of the religion, the Council of Churches. I know several churches, and in fact, majority of them have problem with that organization. It's just like the Press Union of Liberia. Not all journalists in Liberia are part of the PUL.
Wow. So those so the three organizations that we know of that have some, control, let's say regulation of churches and mosques, and they can't regulate religion in the country. Might add a whole ministry now. They want a whole ministry.
Yeah, those are just there to bring them together for festival, to give advice and so forth.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Let's see what the rest of my colleagues then saying, how they feel about. I think it's interesting.
To me, that makes sense. That's how I get it.
Yeah, and actually, somebody's asking something that I also thought about too. What is the separation of church and state? How about that?
About the church and state, like the country that I'm in currently, Poland is 100% run by the church.
Yes.
By the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Right?
The country that I'm in currently, George, Good Day, is separation between church and state. I believe that's the First Amendment.
Yes. Here they have it, but basically, they will tell you it's just on paper that the church should be separated from the church. It's just on paper, according to my political science instructor, right? But every time before election, they always have election here on a Sunday. Meaning, as soon as they preach, when the priest come from the church and say, y'all go vote for the president. And they have a law here that if you are running for the presidency, you have to be independent. You cannot contest on political party ticket, but that too is on paper. Right after election, they can go to political parties. So the church and state, is hard to differentiate them.
Yeah. I know in the United States, it's a separate. The First Amendment asks for separation between church and state. And my other question, as you guys are just off the top of my head, and I'm sure my colleagues will have something to say. What about if somebody says I'm an atheist? Now, most people in Liberia are not. Majority of people have some, either Muslim or Christian following. But so then the person said, I don't want my taxpayers being paid to a ministry to regulate churches. So somebody can argue that.
Yeah, somebody can argue that.
So interesting. Anyway, go ahead, Nelson.
So the man,
well, I think the issue here is having people who are using their
No, I just want to correct somebody. They have other religions here. They also have Muslim folks here. They have freedom of religions here, freedom of religious practices, but it's just on paper. Most of their decisions are made in the Catholic Church. You are right. They have other churches here. They have the Islamic folks here. They have the Jewish people, but it is predominantly the Catholic folks who are in charge.
Yeah. So I think the issue, I think, is like people using the pulpit to express political views or to respond to political issues in the country. So that's what I'm sensing, that it's causing a problem, because George Weah does it all the time. I think this is one of the ways that he speaks to Liberians, and then we just seen the kind of back and forth between Prince Johnson and I think now it's the CPP, but there was also between him and Joel Howard. So it's becoming a problem. The church is supposed to be, to me, a sanctuary where people should be able to go and relax, think about their salvation. But when you're talking political things in the church, I mean, it just makes it's too muddy for me. It's really muddy. So I think let them go to call a press conference. I mean, people will attend when they call a press conference. All the press, you press people will be there. Why do you do it in the church? So it's just a thought. But go ahead, Nelson.
Yeah. And this is all happening at a time when the CPP, the Collaborating Political Party, is calling on the Liberia Council of Churches to condemn the offensive use of the pulpit by politicians and false prophets to slander, defame, and defame their political opponents.
Again, how they establish that a prophet is false? Do they have any indicator?
Does a prophet defame their opponent? Maybe that's an indicator.
The issue about the church and state, church and politics is a very long history. If we go to it, it's a long it's a long discussion that can never end, because you cannot separate politics from the church, and I don't think you can separate everything from the church. Yeah, that debate, to me, I don't like to get into it. But if you look at countries around the world today, even yesterday, before they could be to where they are, they always have politics in the church. Politics has always been in the church, not only Liberia. Politics has always been. If you go to England and look at the kingship, it was still linking with the church. Yes, to me.
But the issue is when you're using your pulpit to go after your opponents, regularly. It's not that's just like in this country. Perhaps I remember Obama had to distance himself from his pastor because the people thought his pastor was too radical. His pastor was speaking against the government, and when he was running, I believe it was his first term. So he had to actually, I think the guy Jeremiah something, if I remember correctly. But if you're using it to frequently go after your opponent or to just then it becomes a problem. I don't notice that here. When you go to church, that people talk about issues. Like the Catholic Church, their abortion is one of the issues that they do not support. So. But they don't go into church and condemn every day, or every other day, people, their opponents. That's the issue. So, yeah, that's the issue.
Yes, yeah. Just a little overbrush on that. Basically, if you look at most of the countries around the world today, their constitutions or their laws were drafted from either the mosque or the church. Like if we go to Liberia, we came from the church. America, they will tell you about it. So I think the church and the state is difficult. Again, I can tell about it. And changes just started coming around the 20th century and the 21st century. Those generations brought a little change or a little separation between the church and the state. But before,
and that's the more reason why it has to be documented and institutionalized because of the evolution of the church having some relationship with the state. So that's the more reason why we need to keep it separate, I think, because otherwise it just becomes too muddy. like what we're seeing now, to me, is very muddy what we're seeing now in our country. But anyway, let's just welcome. Sorry, Nelson, are you finished up? Colleagues, let me just let Nelson finish up. We just got into this conversation, and then I'll make sure I introduce you guys. You guys see Daniel Sano is here, plus Councilor Lami Farquhar is also here, and they will begin to talk. Go ahead.
Okay, so Dr. Richardson, I just run over it very quick since, in fact, yeah. So now the next one is that the National Elections Commission today certificated 5 political parties in the country at the NEC office in Cinco. Now, on the flip side, about 16 persons are reported to have died, and 40 others are injured as a result of a devastating motor accident that occurred today, Tuesday, at about 5 a.m. That's around 5:15 a.m. In Ghana. And what's concerning and what has got a lot of Liberians talking about this is that it's because the bus that collided with this tanker was actually transporting people from Liberia to the Buduburan camp when that incident occurred. So that's what a lot of people are talking about today as well.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's sad news. Yeah. Tough. That's tough.
So the rescue mother debate is on. The chief of protocol says Senator Yomdi Kanga Lawrence or no other person should be talking about rescue mother. It is earned. It is not a self.
Who said that? You guys just there's too many rescue mother. You can tell me differentiate here.
I can talk about mother rescue mother.
Be very clear with your rescue mothers because everybody taking this name one way or the other. So who are the rescue mothers saying? Because
no, the rescue mother, the chief of protocol,
Finabondo,
says Senator Yomdi Kanga Lawrence is not a rescue mother because rescue mother title is earned. It is the people whose life you've impacted that will call you a rescue mother rather than you calling yourself a rescue mother, whether for a ticket or whatever. But rescue mother is earned and not a self-proclaimed one.
That finna give her a chance, but she ain't got nothing to say.
Wow. Well,
James, I used to that one. You way in Poland, yeah? I used to that one.
Yeah, because I know the reason. I know the reason why people most often people call Finabondo rescue mother, right? Because she will give token to them when they go for an event. She will pay transportation, provide meal, and so forth. And based on that, journalists and other folks will call her, "Oh, rescue mother, you rescue us." So with that, Senator Yomdi can come on and tell you why she's called rescue mother or why they're calling her rescue mother. So to me, that one, she not get document to say, the first rescue mother in Liberia.
Open administrative. Well, of rescue mothers. Okay, guys, I just want to welcome all of you. Welcome Mr. Fagon to the show. Welcome Councilor Lami Farquhar. Welcome Daniel Sano to the show. We're just having an interesting conversation about what is it? The National Churches Pastoral Network. Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
They're asking.
The Pastoral Network.
They are asking for a Ministry of Religious Affairs to be enacted or developed to regulate religion in Liberia because there seems to be an increase in pastors using the pulpit for political reasons, such as speaking to their opponents. I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts, Daniel Sano, and also Councilor Lami? You are here first. Councilor Lami, is there anything in our Constitution, you the lawyer here, that speaks to that? What do you think?
The Article 14 of the Constitution says that we have no state religion. There will be no religious test. There will be no preference for religious sects. It's clear. But quite besides that, I think people should be allowed to join any religion that they want to join. People should be allowed to be prelates for any religion they want to be prelate for. I don't think they have
Something happened to Counselor.
Sorry. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yes.
Okay, so as I was saying from the onset, our Constitution Article 14 is clear that there will be the government or the country shall, which is mandatory in law, establish no state religion. There shall be no religious tests. There shall be no preferences when it comes to religious sects. So, but quite besides that, I also believe that anybody should be able to be a religious prelate, regardless of which religion they are from. Um, they should be able to start a church or mosque or synagogue or temple or however way they call it. They should not be required to have any academic education in order to establish their religion or their church. I mean, those are fundamental human rights issues. Even if you believe that the person is a false prophet, that person should have the right to preach the falsehood to the people who won't listen to it. That's a free speech issue and a right to freedom of association issue. So that's fundamental. The idea of establishing a ministry of religious affairs, I mean, I think that's a waste of everybody's time. But I will not be surprised if the legislature, latches onto an idea like that and decides to establish something, because that's a low-hanging fruit. It can be easily done. But that would be a waste of everybody's time. That would be a waste of the national resources. People should be allowed to adhere to whatever preachment they want to, so long as they are not calling for violence, so long as they are not interfering with other people's rights. They should be allowed to preach whatever they want to preach. There should be no hindrance. Our Constitution says nobody should have any preference. So if you establish a Ministry of Religious Affairs to regulate, what you do, you say somebody should have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or whatever degree, or the person should come and prove that God actually called them. How do you prove that? Who has God's telephone number? Nobody has it. So that's a waste of time. I mean, I don't know the people who made this. The people who made this suggestion, I don't know why they decided to make it. Whether one pastor is a president and the president is spewing his political talk from his pulpit, and whether another pastor is a senator and the pastor is spewing attacks from his own pulpit, it should be left with the code of public opinion to listen. So those of us who want to listen to either one of those pastors, will listen to them. Those of us who want to ignore them, will ignore them. So I mean, that's where that should be left. There's really no reason for that.
Thank you. Mr. Sano, what do you think? The same question goes to you too, and then it goes to Fagon, and then I will give you guys the minute to just tell me what's on your mind.
Well, thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure to always be here. I agree with the counselor that it is fundamental. The right to our choice of religion is fundamental, no matter how it is preached, in as much as it doesn't violate the rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution. So it's fundamental. But I want us to move from the legal aspect to delve into the basis beyond this call. Why are they now calling for what I would term as religious censorship? It is only because people now see that Senator Johnson is using his podium to voice out his criticism against the government and other political opponents. That's why these pastors are calling for the establishment of this Commission on Religious Affairs. I do believe that this call also points to the defects within the social fabric of the Liberian society, because you will agree with me that the church should be one of the pillars of society, one of the pillars of one of the social institutions that should be in the business of instilling discipline. But since the end of the Liberian Civil War, what we now have here are churches, organizations that are heavily operating on a political inducement, and therefore they will not speak when the collective good of society is at risk or it's at stake. Okay, I recall very well when Mr. Weah became president, he will frequently return to the country and use the podium of Pastor Bangura to reinsert on key figures in the opposition. Why didn't the Religious Council see the need by then to call for the establishment of this commission? Bishop Winger, the owner of the Dominion Christian Fellowship. The last time Mr. Weah returned from out of the country, went there, he rained insult on Joseph Boyka, rained insult on Cummings, and Bishop Winger himself took onto the podium and said what? Anybody who criticizes George Weah will die. Why didn't these pastors see the need to call for the establishment of a religious commission ever since? So, I mean, like I said, it just point to the defects within the social system, the social fabric of our society. And this is the reason why, I mean, some of are very selective, are very mindful as to the kind of churches we go to nowadays. And we want to encourage our friends who are listening to the broadcast to be very mindful, because some of the pastors are only into the gospel because of money. They're not there to preach salvation. I mean, George Weah, I mean, whether God's called him or not, I was not there when God called him. He had not shown me the letter, like the counselor said. But he's an ordained pastor. He's a reverend. He's an apostle. He goes to his church every Sunday and say the worst about people who he disagree with. Even people who go to President Weah to ask or to appeal for support or assistance, he goes to his podium on Sunday. The other day, he was there talking about how young girls don't want to live with their parents. They want to rent their own apartment. When he was growing up, he was in Gibraltar. He was sleeping from his mother's bed. Why you want to come into him for money to build business and this and that? People not come to ask for business, but asking for rent money. He said all those things. So how come now the pastors are coming up to say, to condemn Prince Johnson, and to even go beyond the condemnation to say that they're calling for the establishment of a religious commission to regulate religious affairs in Liberia? It is unconstitutional, and I don't believe this is the way in which we want our country to be governed. I mean, in a post-war country, we all know that the 14 years of civil conflict devastated everything, but people now who are in the business of building schools, building churches, building the mosques, I mean, they should bear in mind that it is a gospel. Whatever way you believe, if you are a Muslim, you should know that the teachings of Prophet Muhammad you should teach in the mosque. If you are a Christian, right, part of the charismatic churches, know that the teaching of Jesus Christ should be taught in the church. Even Jesus Christ used a podium to criticize. You have all read the Bible. You went to Sunday school. I mean, if you may, when Jesus took the whip to chase the merchant out of the temple. Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with men of God being very vocal on national issue. Why we want it to be very civil? You cannot tell the man how to preach his gospel. So it is unconstitutional, and I 100% do agree with the counselor that the right to religious, I mean, affiliation is fundamental. And anybody who is calling for the establishment of such commission will want to dismantle the constitutional establishment of the Liberian state, because, mind you, we have a constitution that prohibits any specific religious sect from having dominance in this country. That's why in most cases people consider Liberia to be a secular state. We are a secular state, but with dominance of the people following the Christian religion. So it is wrong for them to be. If you want to criticize Senator Johnson for something he said on podium, you can come up and say it. I mean, I'm not a man of God. They are the one who said God called them. They can query each other, but to go beyond, I mean, the criticism and say you want to establish a religious commission to regulate religious activity, I think it is absolutely wrong. And this is not a time for that. We are going to an election, and these men of God should even be in the business of telling the congregation the importance of the election. What is at stake? What is at stake is beyond anything that Senator Johnson said to his political opponent on his podium. What is at stake is how you want to grow the country through God's commandment, how you want to win more souls to the kingdom of God, and all that kind of thing. But what we now see these days is that people abandon the calling of the relation, the Great Commission, and they preach the gospel to
Daniel.
Make money. I don't see the rationale behind this call. It is absolutely unnecessary.
Thank you. Mr. Fagon, we're just talking about an organization in Liberia. I believe they call themselves the Liberia National Pastoral Network, that is calling for a ministry to regulate religious affairs. They want a law enacted so that they can regulate religious affairs. I don't know what is there to regulate, but what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you. I'm glad to be at the party late. And by the way, you look gorgeous with your blue shirt and your blue lipstick.
Thank you.
And I know you don't have the blue frame for your glasses. That's okay. Continue to support the Unity Party. We appreciate you. We
I don't
agree.
for the record, I do not support the Unity Party. Mr. Fargo would like for me to support the Unity Party, but
I already know he's supporting. I told JMB already. I'm not going to hide it.
Okay.
I told him you went to the party headquarters. I showed a picture. You from there, you wore your green shades. And, so they asked me, and I told you about closet partisan. Having said that, Dr. Francine, greetings to you, my good friend Lamik Pagoy, counsel, and to you, Daniel Sano, and my friend Mo Ali. I want to start first, my first 1 minute with Finabono. It's good to believe your own lies that you are a rescue mother. But the sooner you tell the Liberian people you're linked to the TRH that has been importing the drugs into the country, the sooner that and better that will be. You will go down into history as the most powerful chief of protocol, not even the aide to the president or the chief of staff in the office of the president, constitutionally, who happens to be the minister of state, has ever wielded the power that you've wielded. And so you can never call yourself a rescue mother because you're not rescuing people that you met in the disaster. You are helping a few that you've put in the disaster that they find themselves in today. They've become destitutes and prostitutes because of your actions. They are now looming the streets and roaming around in neighborhoods, dropping and dying. And we don't see you rescuing them with your little $2 or $3. Today, the same company that you're hanging out with is providing 250 pickup trucks for a campaign. You cannot be a rescuer. So we'll leave you to your own lies that you are rescuing the people that you're causing to be in the situation of destitution. Having said that, I agree with Mr. Pagoy, Councillor Pagoy, and just like to buttress his point, because the Constitution said that consistent in that same article with the principle of separation of religion and state. I recall during the COVID-19, when everyone was supposed to abide by the laws, this same group of people was expressing the fact that they needed to go to the churches to preach. I quoted the same thing. And I even went with Bible verses to support what I said to them. The next thing they said that God was going to kill me in 6 months, that the wrath of God was going to be upon me. But I am here because I know I spoke by the direction and the divinity of God himself. Today, I can tell you, Dr. Francine, that about 60% of pastors running around in the country are either from Nigeria or Ghana. They come to hustle. And because they know our people don't read the scriptures for themselves, they don't like to study the Bible, so they submit themselves to the idea that $100,000, if you sow a seed of $1,000 today, I promise you that by the end of the month, you will receive in your account an amount of $100,000. If you believe it, shout hallelujah. They forget to know that there are 400 persons in the church. And if each person receives $100,000 US, you do the math and tell me what it would be. The 100,000 you are receiving in your account, whose money is it? Where will the money, the bank that will transfer it to your account, whose money are they taking? Jesus Christ anointed a lot of people and did not charge anybody. These people are charging money for anointing oil. Jesus Christ received visitations and visited people, but these people are charging for consultation because of the ignorance of our people. They believe in miracles that does not exist. God does not announce miracle before it happens. Miracles are supposed to be a surprise. That's what makes it miracle. But when people have to tell you that you will get pregnant in 6 months, don't say the Lord, it's a prophecy. But all the prophets, most of the prophets in the country, everything they prophesy, in fact, some of them die with their own sickness because they don't advise people to go to hospital. Simple thing like malaria. I'm sure that God is in the business of healing. I know the God that I serve. He's in the miracle business. He's healing. But he warned us to beware of sheep in wolves' clothing. He warned us to beware of false prophets in the last days. So we cannot continue to live with stupidity, drinking holy water for $100 when you don't even have 20. But I say this to say that if the people from the pastoral network know their Bible, they will understand Matthew 22, verse 20. Matthew chapter 22, verse 20. And if you like, I will extend it to 22 to close. And he has said unto them, who's in his image and subscription? It's a question I'm asking. It reads thus. And they say unto him, Caesar's. Then said he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God. When they heard these words, they marveled and they left him and went away. I close by saying, Christ himself, not our constitution, Article 14. Jesus Christ himself said you should give Caesar a unothing and let God unothing be separate. And our constitution says in Article 14, consistent with the principle of separation of religion and state. How can we now put you in government? How can we break the constitution to put you in government? Or we go back to what God said, Matthew chapter 22. Are you not following the gospel that says what Caesar is supposed to have?
Okay, Mr. Falcon, I gotta move on to more.
No, you started this preaching and you brought evil on.
Pastor Falcon, you pastor.
Evil just came on. Evil just came on. So, evil.
What do you call it, evil?
Yeah, in that way, colorful share. We must preach the gospel to all of them.
Okay, can I just
the pastoral people?
Hold it goes a little bit for the next time I come around.
Thank you for acknowledging
Faga is one of the first prophet out there. He said sheep in wolf clothing. I heard about wolf. What?
Hey,
what?
What? What you heard about?
What?
What you heard about? Hey, see, I
They
told
said
you
wolf in sheep clothing. Faga said sheep in wolf clothing.
So that's what I said.
Okay.
So let's bring in more Ali, guys. Let's bring more. Thank you for being here. So we're having this discussion, and we have had different points already. Councillor Falcon just established, that the Constitution already settled that issue. That the state shouldn't have a predominant religion.
The people say when you're not in your feeling, you can be so beautiful. Hey, are they just writing sweet?
You distracting me. Wally, this issue with our political leaders speaking in the church to their opponents, because that's why I really want to go to, because we already know, there's separation between religion and state. What do you make of it? Do you think that is appropriate? Councillor Falcon says the people who want to listen to either one of the pastors, they can listen to it. He doesn't have any major issue with it. What do you think? Where do you stand on this?
Well, it is difficult to say where do I stand, because the way I grew up seeing religion in Liberia, especially the two major religions, I didn't grow up seeing the religious entities being used as a political ground or as a money-making thing. I believe religion is based on your faith, on your belief. And then gradually after the war, we started seeing the transformation of religious institutions and the transformation of religious organizations. There were people here in this country who we believed in so much, both from the Islamic community and from the Christian community, that when something happened in the past, you run to them. The entire nation would look to them to speak. And two examples that everyone will always call: the late Archbishop Michael Francis, the late Sheikh Kafumba Kone. And fast forward now, we've seen this with Senator Prince Johnson and Bekube. I don't know. And when the president was being inaugurated, I wanted the names he called.
Okay,
and they now used the pulpit to react to political things. So I don't know what the Bible says about it. I don't know if it is part of Bible teaching to react to political things. But like Councilor Bagoy said, the Constitution gives the right to practice your religion and the way you practice it, as long as you're not harming other people. So maybe the other people feel comfortable reacting to political things through the Bible and standing on the pulpit. Maybe that's when you do not have journalists to interrupt, and so they say what they want and their congregation claps for them. So I don't have a problem with it. I could get up tomorrow and open a church or a mosque and I go there and preach, because when we're coming out, we know that, you know, the pastors, when they preach, we believe them. When the imams preach, we believe them. I don't know if that is the case still today, but I don't see particularly any problem with it, except that maybe those who are very highly religious may find some theological reasons to differ with them, because the church and the mosques have been politicized. This time when we run a campaign, we run to these religious shrines, we go there to campaign. We see our imams and our pastors taking side. And this is not only with President Weah and Senator Prince Johnson, a renowned pastor in this country, Isaac Winker. When the president came from out one time and he was preaching, and he was cursing, CURSING, he was cursing those who oppose the president. That something bad will happen to them, they will die, they will go to hell, and all the kind of thing. That was on the pulpit. And you know, other people reacted to it, but that was his right to stand on the pulpit in the presence of the president and read curse. I'm not saying CUSS, and read curse on the opponents of the president. You know, so other people have copied against some of the most renowned pastors. And I guess they have set the pace for transforming the pulpit from preaching words of God to preaching politics. And it is not wrong when the pastor or the imam takes on the pulpit to talk about reality in our country. As long as, for me, they are doing so from a from a religious objective point of view. So for me, it's a whole thing. I don't have a problem with it. That's why I don't raise issue when
Can you take the show for a second? I have to take a call.
Yeah, so you know, when President Weah started, I know the first time somebody came and said, "Oh, your names were all in the church. They were talking about y'all." I didn't have a problem with it because that's his congregation you are preaching to. So people find it comfortable to go and stand on the pulpit to preach. politics. It is left with the congregation to say, okay, you know what, the message you're preaching, we get interested, we're not coming to your church again. And it is left with them to go and sit there and listen to it. Once they are believing, they can continue to go there. That's how they want to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Morley. Fadiga, welcome to the show. Stanton, your thoughts on what we were talking about?
What are you talking about?
We're talking about the separation between religion and state.
Not in Liberia. Not in Liberia.
Yeah.
Nobody got to tell you what the pastor did.
My man, Fagon, I'm talking to you, but leave me alone, my man.
No, I said she should tell you what the pastor
leave
did.
me alone. I know. Adjust your camera. Only you're here, we can see.
Now, I want you to see. What you want to see my body for?
Yeah, only you want to see.
You want to be like that?
Want to see how you getting sweater?
You want to be like that?
Okay, but listen, man. I would say this though. Dr. George Manna, we had a pastor, that reverend. The man said he's not even a reverend. He archbishop. He's not an archbishop. He's an apostle, I believe. All right. He has taken the highest title in the church. Let's give it to him. Prince Johnson and the rest of them. I mean, politics is from the church. Jesus Christ, somewhere, somehow, he and his disciples, they were political. Though we have it on the book to say that, well, the separation of church and this, to me, like Fagon said, random unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and unto God what belongs to God. And let the people decide. I think I want to talk about other issue, man. Let me leave this separation and churches alone. I will leave that with the pastor, reverend. They can go on the pulpit and attack each other. That's fine. You got to give it to the person, the George Manna we are. He's only going on the pulpit. That's the only place the man free to talk. That's the only place the congregation will not ask him question. That's the only place the man will have to speak, because he drink the holy wine. You know, that in the name of the Father, the Son. So then when the man drink the holy wine, I don't know whether he can drink it during communion time or he can just drink it. Joe, we can be charged like hell before you go on that pulpit. That's why he's sing reggae music. I know my brother Lami Fagon will say it's not policy, but it's the fact. So give it to him. Let the man do his thing on the pulpit. Prince Johnson, where he get the spirit is on the pulpit. As the spirit lead, so we follow. Sanctify them truth by truth. That word is truth, oh God. That's Prince Johnson. So let's just move. The only thing I'm waiting for Bishop Cummings. Let Bishop Cummings find on a church to every Sunday he go and
you just want to put a man picture all in our Ghana.
My man by coming by. Hey by Fagon, where you going ahead of my story?
What kind of picture is that? Let me see here.
My man, James, don't put it up yet. My man, I my 2 minutes. Why you can't get my 2 minutes? The richest way you see right now. They both say you gotta smile. When you smile, then you may all happy. But you smile now, then you will start crying. What if for Bishop Cummings? Bishop Cummings' father was a bishop, deacon, whatever his position was in the church, the highest priest of the land from the priesthood. You know, I know, you know it very well, Dr. Richardson. So what if for Bishop Cummings too? Let Bishop Cummings come and do his own preaching. From there, we'll go to Deacon or Tewan Gonglo. Listen, guys, let's go on. Let's move on. It's okay. President George Manna, we are the only place he will speak like in the church. So why else? What more you guys want the president to do? You say he can't speak. When he go to the church to speak, you'll blame him. Hey, Joma, I just come on. You say my time is out. I shouldn't speak. That's unfair, Joma.
Yes.
Go out and speak for 20 minutes.
I welcome you already.
So, but let me finish now.
Okay, go ahead.
Today, you don't want me on the show. Let me know. I will step back.
No, go
ahead. Oh, no, you're interrupting me. Fadiga.
Actually, I prefer that you moderate the show when you're here.
No, your ANC people will blame me. Fadiga, let me ask you a question though. How was your date last night? What you guys say?
It was okay. It was not a date. I took my friend out.
Oh, okay. It wasn't a date. Okay.
It was a dinner. Yeah.
It was a
Like,
dinner. Okay.
Don't put me in situation I can't handle.
why
No,
did
no,
he
no.
make
They
him
said
go?
they said it was your Fadiga
No,
went
why
on a
did he
date.
go live? He
Huh?
promised to go live.
Mama, but why you in the back talking? Come up. You high yourself. You
See, yeah,
talking.
you went high.
He promised to go live, and he didn't go
Yeah,
live. I
Fadiga,
was
you said you're going to go live on a date, but you didn't
That's
go
why you're
live.
waiting live.
I wasn't on you all night. I wasn't on you.
Did not promise nothing.
Fadiga, you
Usually I'm a
promised to go
witness.
live, but what's Fadiga? What's the girl name? I heard that she's from ANC, right?
ANC, we're going. She
So
on
we'll call her name. There's no problem.
No, we can call her here because the ANC people, they are haunting me right now. I mean, Heidi.
They're hunting you. Then you go
That's
behind
your
the,
journey.
you
Oh,
go
my
behind
wall.
the
I can't
woman.
even see my own wall. The
For
people
the
tell me
guys,
want to 20,000 times. I can't see my own wall. I gotta be running away from.
But for me to finish my time, Fadiga, your business, that your life. I'm not going to jump into your life. But next time,
Thank
take
you.
picture. Take picture. I heard that you get a daughter, and that's fine. Let me move ahead because your daughter, you taking care of her. So
I mean, that
anybody you
man,
bring.
time finish. Time finish. Time finish.
Fadiga, we want to see the picture of that date.
You will not see
said it on
nothing.
our show.
Kumis
You
people
will
don't
not
like
see
that.
it. Common people don't like that.
Okay.
We
Back
are
to the-
sinners. They can't be with us sinners.
Back to the sender. Let's move on. Guys, we got a lot of stuff to discuss today. I don't want to get into the church and pastor and bishops and reverend. Okay? You cannot separate church from politics. I do believe that. We will laugh, we will joke, but what is here that we need to discuss? Let's start discussing the bread and butter issue, the policy of the country, like of those political parties, like Councillor Lamy would say. And I think we did well yesterday. On my mind today, I want to expand on the school, the filter school building, students standing up with the placard and say, help our teachers, help our schools. President George Banaway have turned his back on them. He was in Nigeria, right? A flight from Monrovia to Nigeria, imagine, we will find that figure, we know the amount, a private jet, that one-time trip alone, folks. Let me say this to y'all. That one-time trip can finish the school. That's what I want to take my, if President we are just say, I'm not going to Nigeria today, I will send my foreign minister, I will not take private jet today. That money, that one-time money can finish the school. That one-time money can insert this little girl that says, sir, please help our volunteers teacher. Maybe 5 teachers. It can pay them for 6 months or a year. Everyone out there listening to us, it's time to speak to the president with the last 4 months to election. He shouldn't take any other trip outside the country. The money Senator giving him, let him use the money to help this little girl teacher, that she can receive a better education. That one-time trip alone can take care of this building, that our children will not sit in the worst place in their life to receive the education. It is important. I'm not going to joke with Fadiga or anyone on the set. When I saw the president coming from Nigeria, bringing nothing back home for the people of Liberia, he just went there for his own enjoyment, paying thousands, tens of thousands, United States dollars, on the expense of the Liberian people. What this little girl saying to Mr. Cummings, sir, please help our volunteer teacher. Look at her, look at the little boy. Think about your children. Amen, Daniel Sando. Think about this little girl, think about your children right now. That President Weah will leave the country with 50, 100,000 just to go to Nigeria, and the teachers getting no pay. And the children will sit where there will be no bench, no seat, nothing whatsoever, in a mud house they call school, and no teacher. It is important that we address this. And Dr. Richard said, that's where I'm coming from today. They can say anything they want to say, but this government have failed the Liberian people. This government have failed the children, because their children are in Liberia, their sons and daughters not in Liberia, their nephew and nieces not in Liberia. President George Manneh Weah have failed the people of Liberia and the Liberian children. We will put the video up. that is selling chew gum, cognac, corn, toffee, Kenneth, and they're begging Mr. Cummings, they're begging Joseph Boakai, they're begging foreigners and say, help our school. Because you got Abache, you got Fodati Kofa, you have Beaufort Chamber, and you have Dr. George Manawia have destroyed the southeastern region of the country, and they have given them this for our school. I rest Dr. Richard say, and I hope we can discuss this issue. Thank you.
Yep. So, let's go to Councilor Paco. What are your thoughts on this education?
As I said last night, the issue of the schools, especially looking at what the university professors said about their pay, is a fundamentally worrying issue. It should be a fundamentally worrying issue to everybody in this country, regardless of their political persuasion. Because number one, the government has consistently said that it has excess money. They've had budget surpluses for a while now. Why aren't we questioning them to tell us what they do with the surplus money that they raise from the budget? Because I'm not an economist or an accountant, but by just elementary logic, if you have surplus, it means that you got more, right? So you cannot be in arrears to people for basic services that you should be paying them for performing for you. So we should be asking them. We have the demand of them to tell us what they do with this excess money. Is it that they're keeping the excess money for themselves, for their campaigns, or basically just to keep in order for them to use for whatever way they want to use? So these are fundamental issues. Every political party, every Liberian person should be up in arms against, in favor of these teachers, these professors, in favor of changing our school system, improving our school system. I was just telling Stanton and the other guys last night, when you go right here in Marshall, there is a school that I think was constructed during the O'Neill time, one of the quick impact schools that they built with those brick infrastructure. That school stands abandoned, absolutely abandoned. You see the roof has probably caved in many places. You see moss growing all in the school. So apparently for years, they have not even used it for school, even though there are people living in that neighborhood that probably need schools. So we need to really get on them. We need to ask them. We need to demand of them to account for the excess money they've consistently told us that they've made. When Mrs. Salif came to power in 2006, the budget was, if I'm not mistaken, $80 million. They grew the budget up to probably maybe pretty close to 600 million or a little bit above 600 million. Mo can verify that. The CDC came to power. They've taken the budget to, I think, just little under 800 million or around $800 million. And they've told us at least over the past 1 year that they made budget surplus. So it means that they collected all the money that they thought they were going to collect. And they were able to use what they said they would use. And something was left. Why aren't the students, why aren't the schools for those students being taken care of? Why aren't civil servants being paid? I know a police officer who told me a few days ago that they have not gotten paid for, I think, 3 months. So why are police officers going unpaid? Why are university professors going unpaid? I mean, those are questions that need to be answered. And I agree with Stanton. This is something that we ought to discuss.
Yes. So I'm following this article, which I believe Stanton is alluding to on Daily Observer, talking about the school in Wilmington. This is in Blount County, as I'm reading. And so the school shut down since 2016, according to the article I'm reading. The school closed since 2016. And there was someone in the town that says this is a violation of the rights to equal education opportunity. So I'm going to come to you right now, Daniel Sanders. Do you agree? There was one Mr. Brown who said this is a violation of the rights of equal opportunity to education.
Can you please restate the question? I didn't get you.
The question to you is that this school has been closed since 2016. there was Mr. Brown who lives in the town and is very concerned. He said that the school closing is a violation of the rights to equal education opportunity for the people in their community and the students. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think?
Of course, it is constitutional that every Liberian is, Article 11, equal protection under the law. And if education is a fundamental right, and then the school that's supposed to be open for students to enroll in a given community has been shut down for years, of course, then it becomes a violation, deliberate violation of their constitutional rights.
Since 2016, can you imagine?
Yes. So what we're now considering here is what effort since 2016, what effort has been made to fix the academic sector. The United Party President Salif termed the academic sector as a mess. And so those who were successful to have gotten the trust of the Liberian people in 2018 were under obligation and are under obligation to ensure that they fix the school system. Now, at this point, we can clearly see that the We Are Government's own approach to fixing the academic sector, they didn't take a bottom to top. They took a top to bottom. Because when you interview or you speak to officials of government, they say the president has a free tuition policy. The free tuition policy at the university has been criticized by even some students at the University of Liberia. Administrators of the University of Liberia have vehemently criticized the free tuition policy, that it's not working. The university is being underfunded by the government, and the free tuition policy is a political tool by the government to gain favor from the underprivileged students who have no option to go to, who do not have the financial means to go to to private university, but they have to go to University of Liberia and other, community colleges around the country. But what is the quality? What is the quality of education that has been taught or provided to the students that enroll at the University of Liberia remains a matter of concern. So when you talk about the quality of the education, you can begin with the university, because people come from kindergarten to primary school, from primary school to secondary school, from secondary school before you go to university. So if a government should have a policy that seeks to build the academic sector, to put Liberia on par with other countries within the sub-region, if not globally, you cannot be going to the university and say you want to institute a free tuition policy. A free tuition policy should be an icing on the cake when you have done all of the instrumentality have been put into place to fix the schools from the elementary to secondary level, junior high, before you come to the university. So the policy by itself has not helped, and that's the reason why we are seeing the kind of appalling picture 5.5 years after Mr. Weah became president. It doesn't help the situation. All of the criticism, the academic sector is one of the places where the government has desperately performed. And they're taught by initiating this, haphazard free tuition policy would have helped. It hasn't helped. Even the wire fees, the payment of the wire fee has not helped, because since Mr. Weah began to pay the wire fee, more students have failed than ever in the history of Liberia. Okay, so I do really believe that it is not just the appalling state of the academic sector. Is not just the outcome of a policy failure. It is quite a lack of vision on behalf of the people who manage the system. It is a lack of capability, even on the part of the folks at the Ministry of Education. Now, we come to this thing, we said it before, and people say, oh, you're targeting the Ministry. The Ministry of Education has a very elite school, an elite school that charge almost $280 US for uniform set every semester. Okay, so they are not really focused on fixing the system. They're not focused on repairing the damage. Okay, what they're doing here is to make money from the system. The Minister of Education, there are many persons within the academic sector that now run private schools. And to begin with, you name the Minister of Education. Even the Deputy Minister, Latin Doctor, he owns Stars College. So they see this as a money-making venture. They're not in it to give Liberian, to build a system that works for Liberia at all levels of society. No, they are in it to make money for themselves. When you talk about elite schools in Liberia, Stars College is one of the elite schools in Liberia. Okay, how many Liberians can afford to go to Stars College? But we, the children of the market women, the better settlers, we go to the state-run university. So they don't care to fit. From the day that Eden President said he tried to fix the Fender campus of the University of Liberia, Mr. Wiaki and Mary there, not a single stone have been laid. Okay, so they're not building on the system that they inherited. They are crippling the system. They are dismantling the system to have a situation where students they go to school in mud houses and have to sit on the floor. I mean, this
30 seconds.
It is beyond description. And I think at this point in time, radical action should have been taken against the folks at the Ministry of Education. But again,
you
have a president who is laissez-faire. Mr. Weah doesn't care. All he does is to womanize and drink expensive liquor and travel long vacation across the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanu. Let's be mindful of the time, give our colleagues the opportunity to express their opinion on these different views. I want to go to Honorable Fakon. So obviously, a school has been closed since 2016. Okay, so children in the Wilmington area have not been able to go to school since 2016. So the nearest school is about 2 miles away. And parents are now saying, that they can't send their children to the nearest school because, walking, number one, that's a hazard, And so what would you recommend to a government that this is just one of the probably many schools that we don't know about. What would you recommend? How do we fix this problem for Liberia, Mr. Fakon? We can't hear you.
I'll take the second question. How do we fix this problem?
Mm-hmm.
We got 133 days to election. Having said that, by the way, let me use this opportunity to call on NEG. For the 4th time or 5th time, I want to say if anything happens in that country, it is not a threat. But NEG, the people at NEG will be held culpable, will be held responsible. Why do I say so? You go on NEG website, you will see on the real rolling, 25 parties. You go to the list of parties, only 23 listed. Then just now, the gentleman told you that 5 parties were certificated. Am I correct?
Yes.
As political parties.
Uh-huh.
If you're going to say that you're not updating your own website, a very crucial election, people need information. Your own website, they need to do better. They should not blame anybody for some of the nonsense they say about them. I just want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
They're too sluggish, and if the person cannot keep up the website, they need to find someone else. Your question was, how do we fix that?
Yes, we have a public school where no teachers have been there since 2016.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to.
Okay.
You wait until October 10. You remove the current government, and you vote for Joseph Numa Boakai. Because I believe he will value education, and that situation will be fixed. Here is why I say so. If you did not fix such a situation over the last 6 years, the last 4 months will not help you either. And 6 years after that, you still will not fix it. Because if you did not have the know-how for 6 years, I cannot guarantee you will have it for the next 6 years. So, you say, what do you think the problem is? It's easy. The government have got priorities. And apparently, education is not one of those very serious priorities. I said that yesterday. You cannot say tuition-free colleges and universities where you don't renovate them. They got no resources. Even to pay them is hard. It's a problem. You want to pay WIAC fees. I agree you pay for study classes. But what about the students? They can't even find the food to eat or the transportation. So again, it will remain like that, Dr. Francine. And it will be changed on October 10th. And the only way to fix it is to change the current government. You say, is that all? Maybe somebody would disagree. Oh, the only way to fix it is to change the current government. Why? Because in my government that I know in Liberia, Ministry of State, send my left that ministry again, yeah, but administrator. Ministry of Information, forget about it. Ministry of Lands and Mines, or Mines and Energy, sorry. You can hear about it? Labor Ministry, as if to say, does not exist. Public Works, little bit. When you want to talk about government, you hear about Finabono.
30 seconds.
Kalasco. Yes, Kalasco. Finabono. Chowia. Even the man who building the market and Percy, you not hear about him. Samuel Tue, and so forth. If you can only hear about those people and not D.N.C. Sony or what's his name, Latin Gaton, my own brother, it tells you that the government is almost like an arrowhead and that's it. So the only way to fix it is to change the government. And if you do, vote for JMB. Then you will have schools.
So I want to hold you there, Mr. Fagon. How do you think that JMB can change the education system in Liberia?
Thank you very much. It's part of his platform. When you hear about arrest, the E in that stands for education. It tells you that he's prioritizing that. How is he going to do that? To do that is very simple. Instead of giving all the monies to the pro tem for his office, all the money to the speaker for his office, the VP for her office, combine those three people budget in your national budget, you'll see how much it is. Look at the children's school. How much you think can finish it? Less than 5,000 Liberian dollars. Instead of wasting or waiving 14 million to Western Cluster, you could make a payment arrangement and reduce it. You said, Bafagon, what are you driving at? I'm driving at waste, fraud, and abuse.
Okay.
Cut it back. Generate the revenue and do what? And be able to use the revenue for the purpose intended. And that is the general welfare and good of the population. Not a few fingerful of pseudo-political technocrats masquerading in unfinished buildings and calling themselves godfathers of the country. That doesn't work. Now, allow the last but not the least, especially for the university. You and I were here, Dr. Francine, when they chased, what you call her name? CFOS. Yeah. Oh, that day I saw you mad. Look at the place CFOS were passing on the campus. Then let them pay their little tuition and fix their campus. But that place is not conducive for learning. So let's do the right thing for education, pay our teachers well, train more teachers, renovate our buildings, create a learning atmosphere for our children, not just leaving them to fend for themselves.
Thank you. So, Fadiga, I'm going to come to you. So this obviously is a violation of the rights.
No, you're missing it though. Fadiga was lies. You spoke to Fadiga. You spoke already. You got to follow.
Yeah, I told you, Fadiga, they may envy you on this show.
They may envy me. I know.
You should come back to me and Mo Ali. Go to Fadiga.
Well, Mo Ali, are you hearing me?
Yeah, my man.
So obviously we know that this is a violation to equal education opportunity. How does that affect our country in the long run? When we have schools that have been closed since 2016, the nearest school is 5 miles away. Children are not going to school. How does that affect our country? Why should our leaders who are in the position who are running right now, why should they pay attention to this?
Well, the first thing is it's a shame that a country of 175 years and we still have schools, Urokan and malt houses, and where kids go and put 3 sticks together and sit on. I don't know if any of you went through that, but I did that when we were refugees in Sierra Leone, putting the 3 sticks together and sit on it. And for me, it doesn't really matter which government is it. It is a clear violation and a denial of the rights of kids to learn. But I would like to take this argument from the angle from which Lamine Kpagoye, Councillor, and Stanton took it from. Yesterday, we were on a radio show in a panel discussion, and I was talking about salaries for civil servants. And I received plethora of text messages where civil servants were telling me, in fact, this time we are taking pay in alphabetical order. In alphabetical order. So if you buy lucky and your name is in Z, well, you will take pay after every 3 months.
Jesus.
Or 3 or 4 months later, because they don't have money. And to the point that Councillor Kpagoye made, you have a government that said we've reached the budget almost to $1 billion. And civil servants taking pay in alphabetical order. But then we still have schools. We still have schools that are in that condition. When you claim that you came on the mantra of change, that you came on the proposition that the past government did not do anything and that you will change something, then you boast of unprecedented high amount of revenue collection. But then where the money is going, nobody knows. Because you can't boast of paying civil servants on time. You can't boast of any developmental initiative that we will see from government's coffers. The only thing that they can boast of that I have seen is, for example, my friend Samora Worokoli building mansions on the Oro personally. What I can see is President Weah's construction of his 47-unit condominium. What I can see is he transforming his once dilapidated 9th Street residence into a mansion. I mean, like a bulletproof mansion where almost everything was imported. It does not show that we care for the people. Even though we come on the radio stations and pretend like we are doing everything, when the finance minister stands on the station, he says we are the best. We've done what no other government has done. The only reason why I will always agree with that argument that they've done what no other government has done is because no other government, other than during the wartime, has ever destituted the Liberian people to this extent. No other government has transformed university students into just beggars and troublemakers, except during the war times when we have the likes of Charles Taylor, where we used to protest.
3 seconds, Mary.
Yeah, where we used to protest every year before they open the school, 1 semester per year. And so for me, that is a denigration of the rights of these students to learning, to a better learning environment and to even learn. You don't expect that kids from that particular environment will grow up, to be educated. And these are some of the reasons why more and more kids are now turning to drug abuse, because the society is not offering them the alternative to be better people. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Ah, Fadika, finally I get to you. I was skipping move. So what is the impact of these kids, not being in school since 2016? How does that impact our society, you know?
Well, it is impacting. It's very. I don't even know. This is an age-old problem that has just been exacerbated by this government that doesn't seem to care about anything. But I want us to know that this is a deliberate act. This is a deliberate act to keep our people in abject poverty, to continue to remain at the mercy of these government officials. Uh, and what people, I think we underestimate this government. We underestimate the level of greed and sophistication. I don't think we give them too much credit. But what we are seeing here is something called by Robert Lupton. He wrote a book called Toxic Charity. What most politicians in Liberia have done is to create this cycle of dependency, that our people will continue to depend on them, and that the more they depend on them, they can use that as a means to remain in power. So Samuel Tuer, a lot of the things I believe come from Samuel Tuer playbook. This guy is very, very corny, and he's smart in a very weird way. They have projected that the people will continue to come to them. So what we do is we deprive them, and then give them a little, and then there. So what do? They carry on these toxic charity. They carry on another thing called vein projects, and I will tie it into what. So they carry on these vein projects around where the president built parks. He gave YFE, he gave free tuition. All these things are image baiting and propaganda. So these are created to create this illusion that progress is being made. They are working on development. You see how we are popular with the people. So they engage in these high-profile projects that are visible to the public. Look, the president was told on numerous occasions that where they build that park. Look, a couple of years ago, people, Ethiopian Airlines used to go to that Springfield. Can you imagine this airport? They were told that do not build a park to that place. But you know what? He strategically built that park right to that old road junction, knowing that people plow that street every day and they will see that vein project and say, you know what? Bakukwa did it the first time in the history of Liberia. So it's all about keeping our people. It was never about helping the people. It was never about propo. It was an agenda to enrich themselves. When you see Samoa Wodukori, why you think the president will just come, boom, in the first 6 months, build a whole city? These guys start putting all these structures around in the country. He's trying to grab quick and go. Look, I feel sorry for our young generation, some of whom not even affected by the war. We got a whole group generation that were affected by the war that we have not even dealt with. We got mental health. We got all kind of things that education, they could benefit from education. We left that population. Then we got this younger population. Look, if you want to change a nation, start from the foundation, and that is primary education. In America, how does our children get orientated to caring, love for country, sharing? When you have kids, you see them, they get Care Bear, they get this other thing, or these different programs that start indoctrinating our children to become good citizens from the foundation. And if you can weaken them and destroy them at that age, you got them. You got a zombie population to control and call them Zogos for the rest of your life. And you can remain in power. So this is by design. I think this is deliberate. They don't care about these children. They don't want them to change. They don't want their life to change. So they create these things so that our people can remain dependent on it. But I'm telling you, there is a solution. The one time that we have in our lifetime, every 6 years, is that October 10th. That October 10th that we can make that decision, because the decision we're going to make in October 10th going to be our reality for the next 6 years. CDC can't say we are anymore. We already know what it can do. CDC can't promise you ProPo anymore because the ProPo agenda came to create a new group of rich people. They cannot cry all those things anymore. So we could get beyond the slogan, get beyond all those different vain projects and remove this government. That's the only thing I can tell our people. You have to remove this government. Look within the opposition bloc. I believe at this time, Ambassador Boyka is one of the main persons that can do that. If you look at him, he's been around, he has seen this problem, or find someone. I think we have the opposition now is very solid. We have a minefield of very reputable and competent candidates that can solve that problem. But you must find it in your heart. Move all those different muya from there. Find it in your heart and remove this government from power. That's the only way we can be free. Because 6 months here, we might not even have a country left. Yeah. We might not even have a country.
We're not hearing you, Dr.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes, I'm going to go back to you.
You coming to me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Thank God you're coming to me, at least. We want to say, listen, guys, for me, this is why I stand on the issue. I'm going to put up these 4 folks, and you can include the vice president if you like. You know the president of Liberia already, Josh Manawia. He seems so angry in this picture. All right. You know who's this person, Buffer Chimber.
No.
Sorry. You know the pro tem. I'm sorry. The pro tem Abachi. You got to know Buffer Chimber and the deputy speaker over here, Funati Kofa. Guys, combine the budget.
Mm-hmm.
We want Liberians to just, and credit to Martin Cully, we want Liberians to just, let's just stay focused for a minute, right? And as I heard what Mo Ali said. Mo Ali, combine the 4 offices' budget, millions of dollars. How much, so much, you think it's going to cost?
That reality figure for our audience.
Yeah, we will. I'm coming there. I let you take my own chair. How much, so much, you think it will cost, Daniel Sando, that you have President George Manawia? This is the 2022, though. $5.4 million. We're not adding all the other things that will bring it to $20 million. You got the vice, I forget, I didn't put a picture up. Joel Howard Taylor, $4.2 million. The protein operating 2.1 plus. Yeah, man. Look at the speaker, Buffer Chimber. Does he deserve $2.94 of $1 million? Does he deserve it? People got to listen. Play your politics. Say what you want to say. But Liberians need to hear this. I don't know why they picking that go off again. So now you rather speak to the Liberian people. Then Nelson Colette will go off, knowing that the radio people will want to talk to. Nelson will wait for you. You'll come back on, man. But Fagon, for the sake of God, look at that amount. $16.3 million. 16 million. Hey, man. Compare that to this little.
And the sad part about it, all of them mean like they body.
But look at President Weah.
Oh, another.
This is not.
CEO. Another key observation is that the 4 persons you just named, they all come from the same region.
But that's my time, man. You're eating my time. I hope that the richest you get my time. That man, if I can always eat my time.
Stop talking.
Thank you. But folks, let's just be serious. Bring back.
Force of friendship that are richest today.
Yeah, but well, no, let me hold my peace on this one. But to my fellow Liberians out there, though, President Weah, he travel expensive not in this thing though. That one that low for Samuel 12. Samuel 12 said we set a budget for the president 200,000. He will eat 50,000 from there. Sambora will call it with 25,000 from there. The rest of it, they get a job. Get your way 50,000, 100,000. He doesn't care. He will enjoy it. Whatever you say it is, that's why it is. Hey man, what did Nelson Colette Pickens doing? Why he said going off? We need you on. So at the end of the day, folks, Fonati Kofa. Fonati Kofa operating. How much this guy getting every year? It just increasing. The deputy speaker, Jeff Fonati Kofa, $1.5 million. 1.5. At that time, Chief Justice was there, but you know they have changed him. That's his own budget. The First Lady, Claudia. Why are we giving this woman $700,000? Why? On my time, I will ask the Liberian people, when you take the phone line, why are you giving Claudia $700,000? I mean, this is sickening. It's the worst. It's the worst corruption in our history as country. Buffer Chimba.
And Claudia, brother, let me just let you know he's already the richest man in Liberia.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Buffer Chimba, Aboche, Fonati Kofa, Josh Manawia, Jua Hawatera, and yet and still. And let me say this to you guys though: the money you see here. Samuel Twe and his deputies, as we have heard from our sources, send the ones to use allegation or allege, whatever it may be, they get a 10%, 15% in this money. They do. This is wickedness in high places, folks. But look at this school. The little girl standing up, because I want you guys to understand it. This little girl, I don't know what her name is, Martine. I don't know what her name is, Skema. I don't know the little girl name, but God, please help her. She begging. I heard that when she heard that comments were coming, she went with this thing and begging and said, please, sir, help our volunteers teacher. Look at the little boy's face. I remember when I was in Jimmy Jodocon, wearing this kind of uniform. I remember that. I remember. Hey, if any of you from Balance Way, they call it school, Kwehe School. Maybe you know that school. Think about it. Kwehe School. I remember when we were in Project High, Instrument Tower Estate. I remember. At that time, we used to eat Kia food. The color they used to fry, they all dripping, but you stay eating it. I remember. Today, they can't even pay the teacher. The children don't even have food to eat. But they are walking away with almost $17 million. And they're asking you to vote for them again. Aboche is there asking you. James, the money that Buffer Chimba was sharing, find his picture. Let's show to the people again. When he was distributing the new banknote. Find that picture. Buffer Chimba blaming the U.S. ambassador. Instead of blaming himself, he blamed the U.S. ambassador. We got a clip. President George Manawia said by God's grace that today he called him God's name. They will re-elect us by God's grace. He have come to realize that the people have rejected him and the people will continue to reject him because he's a failed product of a leadership. So therefore, he now hoping, he now fasted. He said, God gave me one more chance. But even the devil from hell saying, no, we cannot. The Liberian people have suffered massively. Look at Fonati Kofa. How you call him? Buffer Chimba. But look at Fonati Kofa. Fonati Kofa is living in what they call the White House. Have you seen his home? Have you seen the amount of homes Fonati Kofa got here in America? We should go there. For Fonati Kofa to save his life, he got to become a snitch. And now he has snitched on all the government officials just to protect his interests. I know they're going to cost me again, but that's okay. I like Fonati Kofa.
No, you're not like, don't lie on the man here. Move from there.
You know, I left Fonati Kofa, but we got to say the truth.
No, but what you say, you know,
Fagon, stop, my brother. But ain't no time to joke. When I in my mood like that, I don't let it joke because it's very important.
But what a station on who, my man? The country is dangerous.
Stop, Fagon. You will tell your Fagon. You will tell your own. Let me tell my own. That's what we have our equal time. You cannot disrespect me. Talk your own when you get your time, please.
All right.
You are not here to defend Fodatik Kofa. You didn't call his name. You talk your own. We shouldn't argue here.
But what are you feeling now? Almost 10 minutes. What are you feeling?
It doesn't matter. You are not the moderator. Wait for your 3 to 5 program.
See why you bring it again.
But the Liberian people need to hear this. Okay? And I will say it again. I will say it. Everybody protecting their interests. I know you want to say the worst thing you want to say about me. I don't watch your show. I don't go beyond your program. I ain't even yay. I say my show, I go sleep. I watch my Netflix, I go to bed. I eat my potato screen, I come back the next day. I know I get 10 more seconds, Dr. Richardson, you signal me. But let me put this up again.
After 15 minutes.
No problem. When you had Daniel Sano talking here, nobody questioned him. Let me put this up again. This is the man, your pro tem, Albert Chie, the richest senator so far in the history of Liberia. Albert Chie. This is the man, Buford Chimba, that approved the new bill. So you go print that money and you'll bring my own. I will carry and distribute it to the people. We got a picture on him. This is Buford Chimba. This is President George Manuel Weah. You know about Joel Howard Taylor. You know about Clyde Weah, the $700,000. The reason why you're giving that woman that money, nobody know. Una Joel Weah and Samuel know. And this is Fodatik Kofa. The reason why we put in the picture of my fellow Liberians, is it fair for you guys to give them almost $17 million? Is it fair? Is it in your right mind? Where you are tonight, you sleeping tonight, you going to bed hungry tonight. Is it right to say that you guys agreed to give these people $17 million? What this little girl begging when she heard that comments were coming, they stood on the street under they got a sign, they start begging. Please help our volunteer teachers. And the people going to school here in the worst place ever. Honor George Weah administration, the southeastern region where all of them came from. How can you get $16 million, $17 million, and the children will go to this place and say they go for education? Yeah. How dare you? Shame on the government. The government must go. President George Manuel Weah must go. The people deserve better. Fodatik Kofa must go. Albert Chie have failed as a leader. Buford Chimba, he have failed as a leader. These people have brought our country down to the worst. You say they are among the 10 poorest? No. They're the poorest condition are not even on the wall. And we need to address this. Try Joseph Boakai. Try Alexander Cummings. Try Tewan Gonglo. Try somebody else. But not those folks, man. Liberia deserve better. And I rise, Dr. Richardson. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go. Where's the counselor? Counselor left us.
The counselor is in and out.
Okay. Yes.
Counselor, I want to go. We establish, one solution to the problem is to redirect funds. We're hearing that, there are certain people in our government that are getting, a lot of money from the budget that could be redirected to these schools. I mean, I'm sure there's many of them. So what other solutions do you think? What other redress to these parents or the students? What can they do? You muted. You muted. We can't hear the counselor.
So the first thing that has to be done is we have to change personnel. That's the first thing. I agree with Stanton on that. We have to change personnel in October. After changing personnel, you obviously have to get the best people in. You have to have people who are prepared to fight waste, because one of the major problems that we have in our country right now is the waste of resources. You talk about people getting 10% kickback on. Imagine if somebody gets 10% kickback on the budget of the most powerful people in the country. If that information is true, that the honor links will get 10% kickback from the budgets of the most powerful people in the country, that tells you that the major problem in this country is corruption. It's ingrained. That the first thing we got to nip in the bud. We need to solve that problem also. So when we change personnel and put in Tier 1 Gonglo, the next thing we do is, because Gonglo is the person who is very strong on the corruption issue, we go after the people who've stolen our resources, especially the people in the immediate past government, because the further you go back, the more difficult it becomes legally because of the statute of limitation. And there are ways around that I think we can employ. So the next thing we do after changing personnel and putting in Gonglo, being the transparency champion he is to now go after those people who illegally took things that did not belong to them. We take it back. So we fill our coffers back with the loot from these people by legitimately getting back the loot from these people. And then why at the same time, because it will take a little bit of time to get them before a court of law and get the court to liquidate them. And you may not even be able to sell those properties for the amount of monies that they invested in them. But that would be the first start. But why that is happening, you go after waste. You go after waste in the government. People who decide to take government resources and spend it wrongly, you deal with that. Like the issue of per diems, travel per diems. You see a lot of these people all the time getting in planes going back and forth because they get free money that they do not have to account for. So we have to put in place a system where people do not use or they do not get cash in their hands for travel per diems. We do it like the way the US government does. When you're traveling, you get a credit card and you can use that credit card only for specific things. We'll be able to cut down waste with respect to that. The gas coupons that these people receive, people get hundreds of gas coupons to run generators, to run cars, and some of them end up opening gas stations. They compete with the legitimate gas sellers because they have free gas. We got to cut off that waste. We have to do it like the way Onmo used to do it. You only get gasoline at designated filling stations across the country. So regardless of where you are, you go and get fill up at designated filling stations. We don't give anybody cash or we don't give anybody gas coupons that they can later on convert. We save millions of dollars again by doing that. And the moment we get to the point where we cut off waste, we save millions of dollars, we go after corrupt people and retrieve the loot that they have, we will have sufficient money in our coffers to now start investing in primary and secondary school education. Getting to the university levels, obviously, we need to determine how we deal with that. Instead of just saying it's free across the board, there has to be quality, obviously. The fundamental human rights for education should be around primary and I think up to even secondary education, high school. That should be the fundamental human rights part. And what this is going to do eventually is that it's going to create a cadre of human beings in this country that are not dependent on the largesse of the political class. I think it was Stanton or Mo Ali that mentioned the fact that people are kept poor because other people want to remain politically relevant. We have to deal with that issue. The best philanthropists in our society cannot always be the politicians or the people who have government jobs. Some of these people, a few months ago, when they had no government position, they were not philanthropists. But all of a sudden now, they gave all the most largesse than the rest of the population. That has to stop. We have to create a situation in a country where the Liberian people are no longer following their bellies, because that's the reason why some of these people are still politically relevant.
Counselor.
Yeah, I will end on this point. That's the reason why some of these people are still politically relevant, because there are people running after their bellies. They think that the government is a cash cow. They get in there, they steal government resources, And then when you challenge them only, they say, is that the first person to have ever stolen? But under our administration, it will be the last person that ever stole in government from government, because we deal with them. Even if you are our friends, we'll lock you up and we'll go visit you in a prison. You will be our friends. We'll lock you up and we'll go visit you in a prison. That's what we'll do.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to move to you, Mr. Sanu. You had mentioned that the minister owns a school, and I believe there was somebody else that's in the ministry that also probably owns a school. What's your problem with that? What is the problem with that?
In the first place, is conflict of interest. The Ministry of Education regulates schools across the country. So when you are regulating, you can be running school also. So it's conflict of interest, like being a referee and being a player at the same time. So this conflict of interest sets in terms of policy formulation and implementation. How do you come down high on private schools that are increasing the tuition on a semester basis, right? How do you regulate that when you yourself, you are also involved in it because you run a private school that is also involved in the hike of tuition, the prices of uniform, and other requirement for schools, for students. Okay, so you are conflicted automatically by virtue of that position. So that's everything is wrong with it. You can be the minister regulating schools and at the same time be running private schools in the country. So that's wrong in itself. You know, and I mean, a kind of thing about it, we have to apply some level of seriousness to how we manage the academic, the health sector in the country, because very key. You have now have a situation where the whole drug pandemic has permeated the walls of the schools, right? You now have high school students who go to school every day. I mean, on Friday is how you call it? It's Super Friday, and they go up to call on Friday, sit at Hilltop, and you see school-going kids in that uniform doing big people things. Okay, how has the ministry got involved to ensure that the children can be guarded? How are they? It's still a matter of concern. So it is not just about us trying to politicize what is now happening to the academic sector in our country. It's a matter of concern for us, because in the next 10 to 15 years, we want to see more eloquent panelists sitting on Spoon to be talking about making their own contribution to how they want the country to be governed. As it stands right now, the country is experiencing what you call brain drain.
Yes.
Right? The country is experiencing brain drain. You don't have professionals. Because why? There's no opportunity. The level of competence from people who graduate from high schools, secondary schools across the country, very low. Even the university graduate themselves, they have got problem because the government is not putting premium on quality. Right? The government is more concerned about how many persons can precinct judge we have for instituting, I mean, a free tuition policy that is not adding any value to the quality of education that's been delivered at the university, even at community colleges across the country, right? So any serious government will be more concerned in building the capacity of a student to be able to compete at a global level. What we now have in the country. We also have yes.
So, Sana, would you recommend to Mr. Cummins, Mr. Buckeye, Mr. Gonglo, that there should be no one owning a school and then being in a ministerial
this is not something that we have to say to anybody who want to become president of the country, because like Ambassador Buckeye did the other day when he appeared on the radio, he outlined his vision for Liberia, right? He outlined his vision for Liberia. Now, when you as a presidential candidate outlining your vision for Liberia, you need not be told what to do. There are sectors in the country that are fundamentally challenged, and you cannot list those sectors without mentioning the academic sector. Okay, so we will expect that those vying for the presidency, I support unapologetically, I support Ambassador Buckeye for the presidency, and I know when he wins the election, he has a very sound policy. arrest, when you look in there are many things that talk about reform. And this reform will also be reflected in the progress that will be made in the academic sector. Talk about voluntary teacher, for example. The government of Liberia, same as we had took over, they've been trying to get ghost names from the payroll or teachers and this and that. In the end, what did they create? They created a big mess. Yeah, they dropped most of the teachers from the payroll.
That's what
there's no incentive for somebody who graduated from University of Liberia to be assigned in the legal area to be teaching there. There's no incentive. So what you now have, you see people, somebody graduate from the teacher college here, they got an A certificate, B certificate, they have to come to Monrovia and teach between 3 to 4 schools, and every semester to be able to make a living. They make an active government assignment because in the interior, there's no incentive, right? In Grand Bassa, for example, we run a supplementary payroll for the volunteer teachers.
30 seconds.
So that type of volunteer teacher is a challenge to every county. Senator Laura runs a payroll, a whole payroll, 13 years now, a whole payroll for voluntary teachers. The government cannot pay them. They don't have time for them. The few people that got on payroll, they cannot deploy all of them across the country. So it's a problem. And for us to ensure that there's quality in the classroom, you must have competent people there.
Okay, Daniel.
Those schools must be supervised by the ministry.
30 seconds finished.
Do their own thing.
Yeah, 30 seconds finished. Thank you. I'm going to move on to Mr. Fagon now. Mr. Fagon, Daniel said that you don't need to tell a president that you should have a minister who owns a school in the government. Why do we have a minister of education who also owns a school?
Well, first, before I say that, this is a very big platform, and it's the biggest in the country. I myself, having served in government, I'm very careful as to what sometimes we get out there. And so, like I was saying, before I answer your question, I'll take 30 seconds to tell my friend and brother Stanton, even though we may joke about him, you say, the guy is a snitch on all his man. If there was a different government, I will let it slide. But in Liberia, with this CDC government, somebody will be going to a hostel now and say that man can be talking about us. Why do I say so, Dr. Francine? I saw seditions chase after Nathaniel McGill because, he's more powerful than the president. He eyeing 2029. They did not rest until they got him out. Today, he's lucky to be alive. I am on this side. I'm not sure if Fonati Kofa may be as lucky if they believe in their mind that Stanton is not joking that he's a snitch on their government. They'll go for him. We've seen the auditors. We've seen all the people that have died. Having said that, if you look at the lowest people there, you will see Francis Kokpo, Fonati Kofa. They're the 2 lowest people on the budget, even though all of them are included. I am inclined to believe that I led the attack in 2017 on Fonati Kofa. I led the attack with respect to...
They are not the 2 lowest people on the budget, Fagon. The first ladies get 700,000.
No, I'm talking about one people, man. I'm talking about somebody where they get free money.
No, she's on the budget. You cannot spend that. But you finish. I will respond to you.
Wait. You see how you
You finish.
No, you will answer. Now I want government official. We don't want elect her.
Okay,
she's
order
official. She is. She is a government official. She's the first lady of the Republic of Liberia. So by virtue of the fact her husband is the president, you put her on the 700,000 budget. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You put her on the 700,000 budget. Don't let it slide. Don't let it slide, Fagon. You cannot say she's not part of the time.
Let me stop. Fagon finish and then you come in.
Yeah, let the man finish. Let the man finish.
Which other country you see them paying the president woman like that?
Former deputy minister for 3.5 years. You need to answer that question of former sedition.
Yes,
or current sedition.
The reason
I don't know why your position, current
her,
or former, but you need to answer it.
You are giving my time, Dr. Francine. I say you and Stanton, friendship, and I continue. I'm saying again, the people we elected, the people we that Liberian people know, are the people we're talking about. Now somebody go get they have money, say go buy Versace bag. Then you say, we
They
must
took
come and talk
the
about
money for the
Hey,
pocket.
Stephen, it's all
Did they take the money for the pocket? They take the money for the Liberian people budget. They take the money from Eugene Fagon. When they were giving you $2,000 a month or rotting old cars, they took that $700,000 and gave it to her.
I care less about you and that offensive friendship. I get my
it's
time,
alright,
I will use
Mr.
it.
Fagon.
Let me tell you something. The reason why I stop there, that's the people we are holding accountable.
Yeah.
Because we put them there. They want Jawia get free money to her. She's not working for our government. We didn't put her there. So the reason why you see me, I'm talking about her, I'm making it clear to you. We did not say can't work for us. That Jawia she's working for, Jawia decided to pay her, let them be on a team. Now, let me get to the point I'm getting to. When I say the deputy speaker, the chief justice, these two people got the lowest, it doesn't mean I'm taking it for in the group. But I'm looking at just two persons. If you just take vice president, not even president, and pro tem, their money are almost 7 million.
Wow.
That money are almost 7 million. Yet and still, we want to beat on Kokpo and Fonati instead of beating on all of them. Then at the end of the day, let's look at some facts. I researched Fonati. Did he pay the 6 houses that does not exist? Did he bill it during Jawia administration or before we are administration?
Senator, wait to answer that. Wait,
you will answer. Did he bill it? There is a reason why I'm asking the question. Because when I did the research on Fonati Kofa,
today you will not say Fonati Kofa. Today you will not do that. Today you will not do that with strategy. Today you will not say Fonati Kofa. You will bring them. We will talking.
You let a man talk for 15 minutes or hour here. We can't talk. He say he would disturb. I would disturb. Now let me say this. The reason why I'm saying it.
I'll give you 2 more minutes, Mr. Fagon.
You're not giving me 2. The man talk for 15 minutes. To disturb my whole time. You say what? The reason why you see me going like this is like I even talking for Fonati Kofa because I'm a man who believes in facts versus fiction. I did the research. In a Liberty Party person here, Daniel Sano here, I went after Fonati Kofa on the issue of Zebulon and what happened in the United States. Do you recall? He had one house that he bought in 2015. And the money issue that happened in Zebulon, North Carolina, Google it.
As a lawyer.
Yes. He was sent to jail.
Don't answer to him, let him talk.
No one to give the facts. He went back to the country. When did he enter the government? He built his houses. He had so much money that he supported Liberty Party with. So we need to get these facts established before we put somebody's life in danger. That is why majority of the people in the lower house likes the man because he's friendly with everybody. Now, I serve in government and I stand up for certain people because they were decent in government when I served. And Fonati Kofa is one of those people who will open his door and talk to you nicely and be able to correct some of the wrongdoings. Does that excuse the budget here? No. But I would not sit on this platform unless the dictionary who I know, who if you say that man are snitch, they were to go KE. I will not allow that. They did that to McGill. They will not allow it to happen. Having said that, with respect to answering your question.
Yes.
And so that lays the situation that he does not have 6 houses, period.
Okay.
There's one house in the United States that I know about, and I know about a house in Liberia that they can call the White House, which he built, furnished, and lived in before getting in government. Period. Come to the school matter. Stanton want me to talk about Claudia. Stanton, maybe then you don't know me. Claudia 700,000. And you see the grandpa in my hand? That peanut. Claudia brother. They call Marco Donkey. Go look for him. Go look for him. That the men have been running all your mineral mines since we are took over. All your gold, your diamond. He and the people in Grand Coup almost fought. Go and check the records. Why should I can't talk about First Lady who getting 700,000 when Marco Donkey is getting around $10-15 million a year from your country. Nobody can talk about that one. So I'm just saying, in order for the school situation to be fixed, there is no two-way street. Any other thing you're talking today that blah, just change President Weah and put the right person there. Why do I say so? My last 1 minute, Stanton, is because they say the Constitution says.
Start calling my name. Not me moderation.
I will call your name. You don't want me to call your name. I call your other name. Ego baby. Now, at the end of the day, the Constitution says that the legislature makes appropriation.
Yes.
On what basis? How? It means that the executive branch of government submits a draft budget.
Yeah.
They look at it, they play inside, they appropriate. If Joseph Boakai is president, in his draft budget, he think he will give Vice President Kun 4 million, or the president pro tem. And I'm calling their name because I know they will be. I'm not guessing yet. He will go get Nyomri Kanga 2.5 million for what? To do what way? When the counties, the total budget for all 15 counties cannot even exceed 10 million, Joe Boakai is not going to do that under no condition. So we have to change the head of the executive branch so he can carry Samuel Tuah with him and Samora. Then we'll be able to fix the situation. That's what we need to do. I respectfully submit.
Thank you.
And don't allow Ego Baby to disturb me again.
Listen, I don't know where you get that name from, but I'm beginning. Let me say this. More
you know where I get it from?
Let me view your time. A little bit, and you want to respond.
Let me say this, right?
You're not getting nothing to talk.
Thank you.
Ego Baby.
Because I used to fly, and I stay fly.
I thought you said you didn't know where I get a name from again.
Mo Ali, I beg, give me your time. In the exchange, you will have mine, please. I must respond to my brother, Fonati Kofa, twins brother, Eugene Fagon. I must respond to him. You know what? Eugene like you, like he like Sir Joseph. He would do everything to protect Sir Joseph. Sir Joseph that he man. Nathaniel follow Miguel. The man will go up and count that he will protect Miguel. Miguel walk down Broad Street today and shoot somebody that Donald Trump said, I'll walk on Fifth Avenue.
He will not shoot nobody. They are good people. They are good people.
Dr. Richardson, please. I got him the lesson. So at the end of the day, let me say this.
I'll get time out.
No, I about to leave. Let me say this though. Fadiga, I will say this to you. People can get mad all they want. We got text messages. Okay? Not because sometimes I sit quietly. You know who stopped some of us from revealing these things? The same Fagon I say now you're talking and say, my man, you putting the people's life in danger. Brother, Fonati Kofa life is not in danger. He living in the most expensive home in Liberia.
So do you believe he's a snitch? No, talk again. Is he a snitch?
Kofa life is not in danger. He living in what they call the White House. And at the end of the day, I will mute Fagon. You interrupted me.
Now we know who can be muting.
So yeah, I can mute. So at the end of the day, Daniel Sando, we shouldn't play fun here with Fonati Kofa. Fonati Kofa, he's not a clean dude. Like every one of them. He's not. Fonati Kofa make his money in Liberia. Fonati Kofa, after everything, guess what? He have houses here in America. Not only in America that we know. We know what Fonati Kofa. I mean, let's talk one at a time. I mean, people enjoying us.
Yes.
I think some of us need to talk because we got some more things to add to this.
I know, but let me finish now. Let me reply straight. Mo Ali, you know what your man doing? He's trying to shut me up. You know that, Mo Ali.
No, but you can't say man that horse you can't show
it. But let me finish my own. That you get your father and fish on. The only play I get on my 2 hour here on Spoon Talk. I'm begging you. Let me finish my own. So at the end of the day, folks, let's just go back into this thing. I'm begging you guys. I like the fact that you brought in Mr. Donkey. Cloud, we are brother. You don't see her. You don't see the man. The man lie and say he's not interested in money in Liberia. These are the people that sucking the Liberian people resources. Yeah, brother. These are the people that sucking the Liberian people resources, my fellow Liberians. And honor George Manuel Weah government. Who gonna touch donkey? Who? You think the 700 he gave his wife? That peanuts that Fagon said. But why is she getting 700,000 United States dollars? Why? Have you asked yourself, when your children standing on the street, begging Mr. Cummings, begging Joseph Boakai, begging opposition leaders, say, please help pay our volunteer teacher for us to sit in classroom.
She not even going to get fasting.
When they're begging, and this woman get over 700,000.
Yes.
And her brother stealing the resources of the country. With the approval of Samuel 12, with the approval of George Manuel Weah, how dare you? And the man get full security manning him.
Budget. Who passes the budget?
No, you have your time, Mr. Policy, man. You have your time. I'm begging you.
I mean, don't they
Mr. Policy, man. But let me, Mr. Policy, why you got love to interrupt me? I'm not protected. Let me just go. Go ahead. No, Ali.
Let me go.
No, Ali, go ahead. They don't interrupt me.
Thank you. Absorb the senators and the representatives too, including.
I am about to. But when I talk about, but listen, let me say this. No, Ali. No, Ali, I beg you. No, Ali, right quick. When I said Fonati Kofa, isn't he a representative? When I said Buffer Chimba, when I said Pro Tem, when I call all of them names, they ask me again, why I'm talking about them? But no. We were talking about the other people, Councilor Policy. But Councilor Policy, you gotta wait. But you interrupted me, man, sir.
I see that.
Okay, Wally, please talk.
All right. So I'd like to say a few things about this.
Please do.
When this government took over, they introduced a harmonization policy. And that policy was to ensure that they reduce salaries and budgets of whatever agencies and ministries in order to divert funding for projects like education, schools, health centers. And I remember very well, one of the persons who was affected greatly, was the then Deputy Speaker, now Senator Prince Moi. From 2018 to 2020, his budget never passed 700K. And I like the fact that my friend Eugene Fagon is defending our friend Fonati. But since Fonati is a sedition and he took over, the budget of the Deputy Speaker has increased more than 2-3-fold.
Wow.
When it was not like that, when Prince Moi was there. Those are money, like Lami said, you have to cut the wastage that should be diverted somewhere else. And when these things are happening, we said we are not blaming individuals. We are blaming the system. The system that is creating, when one person is there and they are in our party, they must benefit. When the other person is there, it must be rigid. We believe that the system must be rigid for everybody. When you create a policy, that policy must continue. Now you fool the Liberian people with this whole harmonization thing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, those who are in the top echelon of government, their salaries, their benefits, and their stealing became even more. What happens at the end of the day? The people who are down the ladder, the poor civil servants, their salaries remain $40, like we saw people from Ministry of Information protesting. They can't get the $40 pay. The kids that are supposed to be in school, they can't afford to pay their kids' school fee. And the money you harmonize, you're supposed to use for building schools like the schools that we saw. And many of them around the country. You do not use it on them. You use it to acquire fabulous properties all over the place, in Ghana, in Liberia. And so this morning, when JMB and I were talking, the first thing we talked about as part of his 100 days plan is a comprehensive audit of this current government. The way they did, they say, oh, UP government were corrupt, but they can't show anything, and they had the opportunity to audit the UP government. When I, as Secretary General and spokesman of the UP, challenged them to audit our government, and they didn't do it because we wanted them to bring to book those who would have been found allegedly corrupt in that government, so as to serve as deterrent for those who will be here. And one thing that we agree on this morning, he said, first thing, they will be audited. And if you are found guilty, the properties you built with the stolen money, government will confiscate it. Government will do the right thing, and that will bring some money. Look, some of these properties, government can even manage them. And that will serve as deterrent to anybody who think that Joseph Boakai will appoint you in government and you will go there and continue the same old thing. Part of his policy, you know, there are a whole lot of things, policy that we want to, there are a whole lot of things that we want to tackle, rule of law, this other one. But one of the core things on the Joseph Boakai agenda, like previous speakers have said, education. That's why education is in his arrest. We have to pay serious attention to primary education. And how do we do that? In the rural area, we have to incentivize teachers, train teachers. We must improve the rural teacher training programs so that people will be trained. And when you graduate from there, you don't have to rush to Monrovia because it is the only place that you will get the opportunity to teach 2-3 schools at a time in order to just, you know, be able to afford. So we must incentivize the teacher. We must be able to provide for them lodging, for them to be able to live a better and decent life. Their salaries must be improved. And how can we do some of these things? You know, I share the idea of Councillor Kpagoy, who must be able to identify the loopholes in government where we have wastages. People just jump, every time people travel, everybody wants to travel. And the only reason why people can be so hard to travel is because of per diem. When you're traveling, you get per diem, huge per diem. We must be able to cut down on it. Now, when Joseph Boakai said, in the first 1 year before a minister travels, look, you're the minister in my government. If you want to travel as a minister in our government, it must be after 1 year, you must go around this country to understand the problems. You must understand the sector you are serving as minister for, and you must bring a comprehensive plan on how we can move that sector forward before you can think about going outside to visit some other country on government expense. And people talking like, oh, you don't have right to stop people from traveling. No. If you take your leave, 1 week leave, and you want to go wherever to spend it, you go in there on your own expense. So all of these things will contribute to improving the education sector. And besides that, all of these concession agreements, if you check, for example, if that school is 5 miles away, that it must be either in the Mosurado or Bomi or Margibi area. There are concession companies in those places. They pay taxes. What do we do with those taxes? In my opinion, under our Joseph Boakai government, some of these taxes, a certain percent, must be allocated to education, particularly primary education, so that the money that you will get from there will be directed strictly to improving the primary education sector, so that you do not go to the schools and you see kids wearing uniforms that are all torn up. The other day, I went to pay visit to PCS, right here in Pinsville Community School. You see kids wearing tune-up uniform, and I told one of the kids, I said, I will sponsor you. Give him my number, go to your mom. When you go, let your mom call me. The mom called me, and I asked her, what do you do for a living? She said, well, I'm selling cucumber in the street. Dr. Richardson, imagine how many days and months she will sell cucumber for in order to be able to afford to buy a uniform for that young man. It's not going to be possible when they have to eat. And while his friends are wearing old black shoes, he was there wearing a big blue sneaker. I felt very, very horrible. And so if you went around and understood all of these things, and these concession agreements are there, they're paying taxes, and we can divert any of those taxes to the counties on education, on health, then we are not serious. So these things must be considered. We must be able to face the reality and provide harsh punishment for stealing. Once that is done, you discourage people, you close the loopholes. The monies that will be gotten from there, they can be diverted to education and health, so that people will not have to sell in the street all the time just to be able to send your child to $1,100 school that you can't even afford. That's my tip.
Thank you, Marley. Father God, you said something about the lack of providing education to many children in Liberia appears to be intentional. That was the word that you used. What do you mean by that?
It is intentional. It's this cycle of generational poverty, this cycle of dependency. Why you think that a legislator would rather people come to him every month and send them to hospital versus building hospital, allocating money in the budget? You look at I'm just so sad. It's so sad that our governance structure is different from here. In America, everything is local. Those guys out there in Washington, they just look for millions of dollars and send it, like the late Ted Stevens did they call it the bridge to nowhere in Alaska. They don't care how much they send there. They just look for millions of dollars of federal dollars and send it to the people. How they divide it locally and with police and all the local structure, it's not like that. So it's kind of difficult to see this, but politics is local. And while we a representative or a lawmaker want to live in this era and send people to school and put them on salary, on scholarship, that is not the role of the lawmaker. But we have normalized these things. It is a way they call it. I wish people could study more of this concept called toxic charity. It's a concept. These guys know about it. They want to create that 5-stage of dependency where they get the people hooked on that. They will have to vote. You can't come. If I can pay your school fee, if I'm feeding you, I'm like your parent. If I tell you to do something, I say jump, you say ha ha. Because everybody winning, because they are already dependent on these people. So it is deliberate. And we have to do something about it. The next thing is, look, when this government came to power, what did they do? Even our anti-corruption institution, those guys managed to disassemble everything. They peel layer by layer, put in people there. Look, why is it that there's no public participation and oversight in our budgeting? Why? Citizens are supposed to be able to engage in the oversight of the budgeting and spending. That way, rather than people building vain project around there's something we can be part of the decision making to help government in to make sure that the expenditure reflect the priority and the needs of the people, so that you do not just go and say, you know what, I think the people need market, I put it here. I think they need something. So we're having this government that do not have no plan. They are just all around going around jumping here, things to things, no priority. And there are other things too. This is how people become corrupt. When they get in these, look, there's so many things, the way this government is functioning. I see money laundering. The way the government carry on the project. If you register the money laundering process and how people clean money. All these VM projects are also classic act of money laundering, where they grab the dirty money from out there. We're talking about drugs and everything. Look, the government is very questionable. They have done everything that if any serious man, look, we will not know to what extent that George Weah and his homeboys have destroyed this country until they leave from power. What we think we know now is on the surface, is just the tip of the iceberg. We will not know to what extent these guys have destroyed the country until they leave from power. The revelation will shock a lot of us. We know the solution. Look, why can't we automate our financial system? Make it take away the cash. Why can't we got fiber update that came to Liberia since Ellington? But now internet supposed to be all over that country. High-speed internet. They got POS system in other countries. In Nigeria, POS system is a thing. It's a business. Market women supposed to be able to use POS system. Take the money, the dirty money. The money so nasty and deplorable. You can't even take $10 for. Go other countries. We know the problem. Everything we got here is deliberate. These people are doing these things so that they can keep our people. Look, there are so many things that we can do in that country there to curtail this problem. Why don't we strengthen our institution? Build a strength. Look at the judiciary system, for example. What do we have in place to protect whistleblower? In America, how many times people retaliate against whistleblower in this country? In Liberia, you are a whistleblower, you are either found dead. Look, Matthew Innes died. Gifty Lama died. People died free. Everybody just put their hand watching it today. They were sacrificial lamb. Why would anybody want to blow whistle? Why would you want to sacrifice yourself when you could lose your life today for little or nothing? So how can we solve this problem? We already know the problem. The solution is there, but we need to have a government that is willing to prioritize these things.
Okay.
Until we can have a government that will make this the mantra, what are the purpose on it, and actually come to power and say, from day one, we want to go back to the drawing board and start to change. Look, the problem in Liberia is so enormous and scattered all over the country. You don't even know where to start from. Education not there, water not there, light there, health not there, mental health, no job. So where do you start from?
Yeah.
See, it's so scattered, but we need that will.
Thank you.
Will from a leader that will have that will and desire to change it. That's the first thing. So get the people out who find it responsible for to take it.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for your feedback on this subject matter. It was just your recommendations. It was an awesome conversation. I want to just close this aspect because we got to go to the phone line and read what's in the article that I'm reading from. It says, our children deserve better. The lack of access to an elementary school in Wilmington, which is in Bond County, has a far-reaching consequence. But the greater harm is that it perpetuates a circle of limited opportunities from one family generation to another. And that came from a family named Mr. Brown. He's the father of 3 whose children, like many others, are not in school. So I think that whole generational dependency that you were talking about, that sort of speaks to that. I also think it has far-reaching effects for our democracy as well. Can you imagine being uninformed? How do you make decisions if you're not educated about good governance and good governance?
The media too. The media is an integral part of this process. I forgot to add that there. The media.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the phone lines and listen to our people. Is that Stanton, did you have anything else to add? Because we call modern
No,
AC, go back to Stanton
Councilor.
again.
Actually,
Councilor didn't say anything, though. Councilor, let me.
We went in.
Oh, he spoke? Okay.
Yeah. Did you have anything else to add? Why, Mr. Fago, try to?
No, my only thing is that
you kind of your friendship will soon spoil. Tomorrow is not far.
We call moderating issue here.
my thing is that Councilor.
He will come for you again.
Huh? You know, when we're little children, when you're playing the football, the person who got the football will grab it and just go. If I go with the football and go.
No. The man told the football today, and I enjoying her. Me, I let my Liberian people who listening, they will say, Fagon, be her, tomorrow coming.
You know what? Let me, Fadiga.
Jack the show from in her hand.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not on the show tomorrow. Fadiga, though. Fadiga. on a serious note, this Eugene Lamy Fagon,
Okay.
from start to finish,
And yeah, he called him again. You will not give me 10 seconds.
that he must tell us what we know and what we got in our arsenal about Fonati Kofa. Seriously? This Eugene Fagon, Eugene, if he's not a friend to you, you're a deadbeat walking. And I will say this because I know, but the fact remains, and people can say what they want to say, they can get mad all they want. I will stand tall for the Liberian people, and I will say the truth to them. What is happening in our country, and you are right, consider the lawmakers should be held responsible, all of them, because they passed that budget. Listen to what Mo Ali said. Deputy Speaker Prince Moyi, 700,000. They have increased it for Fonati Kofa, and they're going to increase it again because you know what? They are seditions. They support the agenda of President George Manneh Weah. And every one of them from that finance ministry, every one of them, they get a kickback. It is alleged that they do receive 10 to 15% kickback. They must receive the kickback before they can even pass that budget and say yes. They must. It is there. Our government under President George Manneh Weah, it's a disgrace. We have been waiting for this president to have a 360 term, even 180. And he has not. My man, just 6:32. I get 1 more minute to talk. I beg you.
You not talk for 3 minutes. I got my
Make this my closing. Even President Weah, we back him. Turn things around. They snitch on Lieutenant Pharaoh Magay. They fire him. They fight in the government. Right now, do you know the government have no money? They have gone up the bag. No money right now. Zero. There's no penny. They are frustrated how they will pay the people. John Manneh, we are going place to place. Summer 12, baking IMF, baking World Bank. The people say, we're not gluing you. We not give you a grant. We give you everything. And all you guys do is to eat it. They went to Asara Meta, they beg. Asara Meta said that's election season, we'll do a cheer. Because we don't know who will win. The poor Western cluster, they beg. They're going through all the opposition hole, begging. That's why they have not paid the people. This government is useless. President George Manneh Weah had an opportunity to turn things around. What did he do? He sat at Jamaica and drank his Hennessy XO. He had an opportunity to be one of Liberia's best, most efficient. All the men will have, he was going to have the most important legacy ever. What did he do? He failed our football association. Okay. He failed Lone Star. This president, no. That's my closing. I want you guys. This president, that Eugene Fagon friend, that's why he interrupted me, Mo Ali. That Eugene Fagon friend, this president have failed the Liberian people. Samuel Tway have failed the Liberian people. All of them. And why should we sit here and think it's a joke? $17 million? They give you a wealth from January 1st to December 31st, 700,000 for what? Look at our young guys. They gave the Vice President Joel Howard Taylor. Look at the group of 77. How dare you to say this president must be re-elected? How dare you to even stand to call his name and say we're going to vote for him? Look at your life condition. You are not even in neutral. You are in reverse. 6 more years, you will be dead and walking with stake. This government must go. Our people deserve better. Give me Bwaka. Give me Cummings. Give me Tewon Gonglo Atek. Give me George Manneh Weah. We are 6 feet under arrest.
Thank you. But you gotta still let everybody else finish closing.
Yeah, I'm not staying for Fagon.
No, I have to respond again. Let me
can I come in?
Take my 1 minute to respond.
Okay,
to the
yes. Let everybody gonna make the final word on this. We gotta go to the phone line. I'll go to Fagon. I'll go to Sanu.
How many minutes give us?
That's Jaco. Go ahead, Fagon.
first, morally, I'm not defending the amount. And yes, all of these people are seditious. Look at the list. What I'm saying to you, let's just look at logic. If you say the money was too much that you were paying civil servants and you wanted to do harmonization, you cut their pay. How come you increase your budget? It makes no sense. But you cut the poor man pay and then you increase the budget to your office. If you increase the budget to your office, it means you increase your salary. True or false? True. That's simple sense. That's not what I'm arguing. What I'm trying to do, and Stanton is right. And Stanton was my friend. When his best friend, why he said the children them call them uncle, when they ran away on him, and I keep to his defense, if I know you are a good person, it doesn't mean you will not slip or get in trouble. But when you say the man got 6 houses in America, and I have done the work, the man when they got 1 house in America, I will not stand for that. When you say the man snitching, and I know what sedition I can do to people who snitch, I will not stand for that because they are facts. But at the end of the day, when you talk about the first lady having 700,000, you see me not wanting to talk about it. It means that I feel they should not even give her fasting. She's not working for us. Like your wife. Do you give the minister their wife? Do you get their money? Do you get a chief justice wife money? Do you give the vice president husband money? So why would we get your wife? Okay. And your wife?
30 seconds. I gave a friend a chance to talk. I beg you.
Yes. When your bestie was talking, he will come for you tomorrow. Just wait. At the end of the day.
I know, right?
The reason why I want to talk about it, and I want Stanton to hear me and hear me well. Stanton. The woman brother, some day he can make 1 million from the diamond, gold, and other money. That I want to look at. And yet the children in there
painful. It's so painful.
And you understand? Look at the men who control lands and mines. About you. All the money in the country, whether Asila Mito, MMG Gold, everybody report to him. Because besides being pro-tem, he's one of the most senior geologists we have in the country. So he knows where they go and the diamond at. And I pay eating at. Okay. So I'm not backing the individual, but I will not say there. Somebody can call me and say, okay, Mo Ali said his face to the woman in District 5. That's right. I will put in your ear.
All right, let me just defend Mo Ali character. Thank
He's
you.
my brother. Stato, my witness is
you know
right
what
here.
he said? He said Mo Ali said he's sitting District 5. That's so where he's going at. They got a bad guy. You see, Mo Ali, you gotta say something. Mo Ali, Fago is bad. He wants to say something, and he doesn't say. But we'll talk about that one. Mo Ali, you gotta come and say something. The minute you say you're sitting District 5, Mo Ali.
Mo not running again. Mo Ali not running again. But
Mo Ali left District 5. I'm from District 5.
My girl, you bad.
Mo Ali left it to the lady to focus his sacrifice, his political ambition.
Mo Ali second said. Mo Ali second said that you must say. The other side of that have witchcraft for real.
Okay, guys, let's have
I think you and Dada Regency want to plan to see a discord between we and Mo because Mo is our very good friend. What Mo has done
will do it.
Is very unprecedented of a typical Liberian politician.
Nobody will do it.
To say that we are all supporting the signal cause, I'm going to step aside so I can focus on the campaign. And you can go ahead
and in his office.
So I think instead of trying to
call me today to say Mo Ali.
Well, let Jonathan talk.
No, let's take a man. Look, you gotta move the man from the show.
Sana, please talk. Please talk.
You gotta move the man from the show.
I just wanted to conclude by saying that the political leader of our party, Senator Nyombi Kanga Lawrence, is in the States to attend the LP USA Summit.
Thank you very much.
It is good that we talk about it. I mean, we never had a time to talk about it, but I think she's there. It's going to be held in Addington, Pennsylvania, and she's inviting everybody. So if you have the time, you can reach out to the political leader. She's already there. It's going to be a jolly good time together with all of the partisans in the U.S. They're going to be assembling in Addington. It's all intended to bring together partisans to review the policies of the party, the agenda of the political leader, and then make some financial contribution for the operations of the party in the 2023 elections. Even though we are not featuring a presidential candidate, but we have legislative candidates that are running on the ticket of the party, and they need our support. I see our friend Musa Bilete trying to undermine the legitimacy of that event. He and Kingsman, they have written the letter. And I don't know, Musa can really feel embarrassed.
What did you just say? He and who?
Kingsman. That his relative. That Vakisi Kone, that Musa relative. That's what I mean, that his relative.
But Dr. Fancy, no, he brought you on the show when Dr. Fancy was moderating Basiki.
No,
Yeah, so how do I
just don't sound correct to me. That's
yeah, but maybe you don't know the meaning. Kingsman mean a relative. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
thank you for correcting.
So Musa and Kingsman have signed a letter to say that they have a different chapter of LPUSA and everything. But I just want to conclude by saying that LPUSA was founded back in 2003, and Lami will bear witness because he's a founding member of the Liberty Party from the FOB. Philip Swar is the founding chairman of LPUSA. So, in the face of all of the glaring pieces of evidence, for Musa to even be writing a kind of letter, putting his signature there and putting it on Facebook, it tells you that the man is a dangerous person. He's off for something else. Now, under American law, you're not allowed to register a political party. So what they did in what they have done here, they go to say LP Incorporated. And we challenge them to put up the article incorporation. This is completely criminal in nature. And I can now understand why Musa Bilete is suffering the weight of a 10-year ban from FIFA. Because everywhere Musa goes, everything about him is just criminal.
Everywhere he went,
he was just committing criminal activities everywhere Musa Bilete goes.
30 seconds,
and this is sad. And that emergency again, I'm calling on you to ask Mr. Cummings. He's a decent man, but with Musa by his side, it's a shady, it kind of paints a kind of shady picture on his vision for Liberia. You can't say you want to change Liberia and you have a habitual criminal like Musa Bilete and speaking and directing your campaign. It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction that Liberians are not going to accept. And the sooner Mr. Cummings realized that Musa is a dent on his integrity, the better it becomes for him. So we wish all our people in the US a very happy summit, and we look forward to getting the feedback from the office of the political leader. Thank you.
Daniel Sando, you scared? Just said that Musa cannot come to America because he was denied visa for being
I don't know.
criminal. Why
Can you guys give me evidence?
Why are you afraid that
you want evidence again? Get that man, the man forged the document. I give you evidence. You still want evidence? The man forged the ballot document.
Well, you have that evidence.
we gotta go though. Dr. Richard saying that man say a piece, and we gotta go. We shouldn't go back and forth because it's responsibility.
Just how Falcon said that we can't just say things here and call people names.
But that the people party, that the man
they were convicted by FIFA already. There is evidence. So
but
that the man Kingsman, you want to say it too?
No.
That man Kingsman, what do you mean no?
But the man said on our show, he said he said they are relatives on our show.
Counselor.
The guy that wrote the article
it was just a little derogative to me, that's all to say.
Yeah. Now Musa Kingsman.
No, Musa told her the man wrote a beautiful article for Musa.
I beg you, Daniel, don't use Kingsman. Just say that the man relative are begging you. Counselor Lami Pako.
And that Cummings' best friend. Right in the car.
So
Mr. Cummings is a very intelligent.
You're working with criminal.
Show me your friend. I will tell you who you are.
Not criminal in our country now. You are with the GBA government.
Show me your friend. I will tell you who you are.
Councilor Lami again. Can we go to Councilor Lami?
Lami wave a time to us.
why would I wait my time to who?
Exactly.
My new friend is playing new in. But on a serious note, there are plenty of honest people in this country. There are many people in this country who are not corrupt. I mean, I can certainly say I'm one of those. I can say Councillor Gonglo is another one of those people. A colleague of mine had a situation last night where she mistakenly sent money to somebody, and the person returned her money. She said she didn't expect that the person was going to return. I think it was $85. The person returned that money, even though it was mistakenly sent to him. You know, when she said it, I said, I mean, he should have done it. There should be nothing strange about that, because that's what he should do when somebody mistakenly do something. But to close, what is discussion? The discussion.
Yeah, we're just closing this topic. I gotta go to phone lines.
Oh, we're not closing yet?
Phone line again?
We're going to phone line. I mean, you tell me we're not going?
No, because it's almost 7 o'clock. Let's wrap this
Okay, then we're closing now. Sorry.
The budget issue. Talking about the budget issue. You remember, I think all of us here have read Animal Farm. That's one of the George Orwell books that is popular in Liberia, even though I don't think that's his best work. His best work, I think, is 1984. In that book, the rules, the commandments that they set, they all, at the end of the day, it came down to one commandment, right? All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That's the situation we have in this country. You know, there are some animals that are treated separately from the rest of us animals. We have to change that. And we can only change that if we change personnel and put the proper personnel in power, in office. We have to make sure that we go after people who waste. And it's a good thing that the Unity Party, for example, is saying that they will carry on a comprehensive audit of the people who the government, if they win. They're saying that. I mean, for us, definitely we're going to do that. And we're not going to only stop at the issue of audit. We are going to make sure that people who are found wanting, those people are punished for doing wrong to this country. They had a fiduciary responsibility. They still have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that they use the resources of this country the proper way. They betrayed the public trust, and we will investigate them. If we found out that they actually betrayed the public trust, because it's one thing for someone to misapply resources, and it's quite another thing for the person to deliberately steal the resources. One of it can be excusable behavior that can be settled civilly, and the other one is a criminal act that should be dealt with by applying the criminal statutes. So we should all commit to the fact that regardless of who we are, you know, especially in the opposition, we should all commit to the fact that whichever of us win, we should not give that person any honeymoon time to say we are working on governing, so we will forget about let bygones be bygones. There should be no bygones be bygones. We made that mistake with Mr. Salif, and we saw where it led us. We made that mistake with Mr. Weah. We see where it's leading us. We should not make that mistake with anybody coming to power. If it's Councillor Gonglo coming to power, the day after inauguration, in fact, the day after 12, the minute after 12 p.m. On the day of inauguration, when he takes the oath of office, is the same day that people should start calling on him to start going after people for doing corruption in this country. That's what we should do to all the other people who come to power after January next year, because we have to put the country back on track. When some of us got involved in politics in 2000, we're very young people. We still have hair on our heads. Now we are getting to be old people. Our hair, you know, unlike people that done it, that still got hair, and most still got hair, but some of us, our hair going away, and the thing hasn't changed. We have to make sure that this country.
I mean, my hair been going long time, my man.
And I will close on the one last point. I think it was more that I was talking about a woman saying that she sells or cucumber or something like that to send her kids to school. My kid and myself, you know, we be driving around sometimes, and then, you know, one day we're driving and there's these people selling sugar cane. You know, the lady is there peeling the sugar cane, cutting it. So I told her, because I always like for her to know that you don't have problems because your parents do it for you, but notwithstanding, there are other people who have serious challenges in the society. I said, you see that woman over there? She cutting the sugar cane, not because she wants to be cutting sugar cane, but you check it out, she probably maybe has kids at home who's waiting for her to finish selling her sugar cane before she can go home and prepare food for them. I said, so you have to be grateful for what you have and never look down on other people. You know, I used to beat that drum into her all the time.
Nice.
And we have to change the society for the better. None of us should be in politics because of what we will get from it. We should be in politics because we want to straighten up the society in a way that tomorrow we will not have beggars that will be looking up to politicians because they need to get a few bags of rice or to get hospital money before they can have anything going for them. So I will stop there, and I hope we commit ourselves to forcing whoever comes to power next year to do right by the people of this country.
Thank you. Wally, do your closing. I think if I can finish with that closing.
No, we didn't do our closing. You gotta go to Fadika, but that's fine.
Okay.
So let me do my own before Fagon. So we started up on the
education
preaching thing, and
I
received a message from somebody that I respect a lot, who is a serious man of God. I hope I can get that message. But the person was saying that, look, it is not wrong for somebody to.
A message from Prince Johnson?
From Prince Johnson? No.
Is it from Prince Johnson?
No. I will not call his name. But let me read this, right? As part of my closing. He said, is there a precedence of Jesus setting up a religious institution to regulate what people of the day preach? The answer is no. Check out Gamaliel's advice in Acts 5, verse 39. And it reads thus. So in the present case, I advise you, leave these men alone. Let them go. For if their purpose or endeavor is of human origin, it will fail. But if it is from God, you will not be able to stop them. You may even find yourselves fighting against God. So I like to close on that and say that, look, when the people go in on their pulpit, they preach, it is left with the people who are in the church to believe them and stay there, or to disbelieve them and leave. It is also left with they and their God. If I am sitting there and you're preaching and I don't agree with your preaching, I'm going by my business. The good thing is nobody can tie you in the church and say, you're forced to sit down here, no war going on, nobody get going. And on the issue of that school, I do agree that it is a total deprivation of the rights of those kids to education. That should not be happening. Our government, I am very certain that Joseph Boakai will win the election. If possible, we might even win in the first round. Education is a top priority for JMB. And that's some of the reason why some of the things he's doing now is to improve education. Like if you go to Tottenham, just last week, he dedicated a pump that will supply school to the community college there. A borehole, install a kiosk system, a water system. And the interesting thing is that when they went to do the dedication, not hand pump, they want to pump it because one thing JMB and everyone has agreed on, he's never going to dedicate hand pump. If you want to provide water, it must be good water, running water where somebody can open tap. No hand pump business. And when he went to dedicate the water system that he installed at the community college, the president of the community college did not go. He didn't attend. For fear that if he had attended that program, the program that is bringing the system that is bringing water, much needed water to the community college, that wasn't there for his students and his teachers and himself. He sat out the program for fear that they were sacking if they saw him to a JMB program dedicating the water system. If I were that president, I would go there. If they sack me, I will gladly leave, because then it doesn't show that we are serious.
30 seconds more.
It doesn't matter who the person is. We must take the education system seriously. And we talked about closing the loopholes and how we can generate some money to divert to the education system for the kids. And even every one of us, some of us still want to learn. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Richardson and thank you to all of the other panelists.
Thank you, Mo. Let's go to the Fadiga. Fadiga hasn't really said much. Let's Fadiga do his closing.
Yeah, ban me, but it's okay. I will take it.
Now you say all are against you.
Still to all you guys against me, but Doc. Yesterday you're not part of that Zogos that we're talking about.
You ain't got no bright color, nobody's Zogo, but do your thing.
Well, man, let me address this church. Is the act of using the pulpit to preach politics deliberate. Liberia is a very religious country, whether it's Muslim or Christian. We tend to look, especially with Christianity. Look, it's on the street corners, it's on the sidewalk. Sometimes it can be annoying with the noise. In America, they won't allow it, but our people, especially with the new kind of religion that came that preach prophecy and those things that originated from Nigeria, it's a new trend in Liberia, and people are in tune to listen to those people because they preach, prophecy, miracle, and so on. So, no wonder why the president want to use this platform. It's a very, very powerful platform. Some of these people with that kind of culture where sycophancy and all these kind of things, people want to be, at that close proximity to the power that be. Of course, they will go there and listen to them. So there's no better place. Look, our country, Article 14 of our Constitution call for a separation of the church and the state, a separate religion, not even the church, religion. But while it is true, we also have freedom of speech. And those political leaders, whether in their capacity as pastors or as politicians, they have that freedom. So there's nothing really wrong or illegal about it. Ethically, you can look at it. There is some ethical implications seeing your pastor. I won't be in a church with a pastor that giving a sermon and can't even quote one Bible verse. Whoever thought that George Weah is a pastor that you will go in a church and stay there for, look, Prince Johnson, say why you want. Prince Johnson can give you some authentic Bible voices and tie some of his sermon in with the Bible. I'm yet to see George Weah quote one Bible verse. This is the only pastor that I know in Liberia, or if I don't know why he calls it evangelist or what, that cannot even quote one Bible verse. He sits on the platform and he spewed up jab at all his political opponents, because you know what? Nobody going to curse God. Nobody going in that place there to something. So he has found a safe haven. I think it's cowardly on his part to use that something that's sacred to attack other people. So it is clear what he's doing, but there's nothing wrong with that. So they can do whatever. I won't go there. I don't think people should go there too. But let me just close on this education thing. No, it is sad. The first solution is to stop the bleeding by getting these guys out of power. The second thing is to hold the next president accountable. Look, citizens needs to stand up for the right. I think Liberians have been too laid back with our politicians. We know we don't want war, but civil disobedience is a tenet of democracy. Let us continue to make these bad politicians so uncomfortable that they will either run away from the office or they will realize that they cannot keep poking this bear, putting their fingers in our eyes, and keep doing the same thing over and over. We need to stand up. Nobody needs to do it for us. You need to stand up for yourself. We all need to stand up and start holding our officials accountable. That's the only solution I can see.
Thank you. Yes, your turn.
Let me go before Fagon because Fagon got nothing interesting
Go
to say.
ahead.
You're gonna.
I'm closing.
You call yourself baboon. You say monkey makanda so you can go there now. Everything.
Dr. Richards, I'm sorry. That's my closing. I'm done. I'm gonna play this song. I'm gonna play Joe Where I Must Go song. Then afternoon. So go ahead.
Ego baby.
Yes, sir.
You call yourself baboon. You say monkey makanda so you can go there now. Everything I get from west to west. Now we human being, we want human being because human being can take care of human being. Baboon, you're not able to take care of that wakayebo. You're not able to lead the land at wakayebo. Usoja baboon can, baboon can, baboon can, koro baboon can, baboon can nati yo, baboon can nati yo, baboon ede. Usoja baboon can nati yo, we get baboon can nati yo, koro baboon can nati yo. Once upon a time, in the jungle, there lived so many animals mixed with human beings. During the days, the village was so peaceful. Everywhere that you go, everyone used to jolly and take their pay on time. After they realized everything was good, Baboon came one day and say he will become president. Majority of the youth went behind Baboon, and few people went behind Wakai. They had us of the time, made a great mistake by even allowing Baboon to run for president. The citizens of the jungle were not satisfied, but for peace sake, they say like a Baboon some time. Oh Lord, oh God, that was the biggest mistake we never will forget. Baboon, you're not able to take care of that wakayebo. You're not able to.
Shall we all go? Shall we all go? Shall we all go? We tire, shall we all go? Shall we all go? Amen. Devils are crying, oh. Market women are crying, oh. Shall we all go? We tire, oh. Shall we all go? Innocent people are dying, oh. The students are staying home. Shall we all go? We tire, oh. Shall we all go? Shall we all go? Shall we all go? Shall we all go? We tire, oh, shall we all go? Shall we all go? Shall we all go? We tire, oh, shall we all go? Yeah, shall we all go? We tire, oh, shall we all go? The people are suffering, no. Shall we go? We tire, shall we go? We tire with the hunger, we tire eating curry, oh. Shall we go? We tire, shall we go? Musicians are crying, oh. Hospitals are empty, oh. Shall we go? We tire, oh, shall we go? Shall we go? Go, 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 go. Yeah, we tire, oh, shall we go? Shall we go? Go, 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 go. Shall we go?
All right, so let me do this because how I wanted James to play this, it never came up the right way. Guys, please bear with me. I beg you. Not this one. If you have the Joe Where I Must Go song, Fagon, please send it to me. Because we got to tell the people who must go. I know we showed a video, but there's a way to do it. Fatiga, you have it, right? Fatiga, you have it?
I'll put it in there. I'll put it in there.
Yeah, just real quick. I'll play it from my end. Just send it to me real quick. We got a list of people we got to show that must go. Listen, this is not a joke, folks. Say what you want to say. We are not kidding over here. I said, giving 6 more years to Josh Manawia is that giving yourself 6 feet underground. It means that they have to bury you 6 feet under. That's what you're about to settle for. Yeah, people can say what they want to say, though. It's election season. You know, I feel for the Liberian people. If you have the time to ever sit with President Weah, he alone would do the talking and there will be nothing coherent. And that's how the president run our country. Others may agree with him and want to agree with him because of what they believe in. That's their friend from Charlie Kintan. But when it comes to Liberia, there should be no friendship. It should be about what comes to the policy and what you can produce for the Liberian people. So when they said George Weah must go, it's not a joke. It's just not music. It's the fact. And it's my fact. It's your fact. It's reality. That when you look at your life for 6 years and see everything Samuel Twe have acquired, everything he continued to take from our country. Cloud we have brother, every millions dollar he continued to steal from the natural resources. Samura Water called it that he got his own investment company that may take money from the very entity, including LDC and rest of them. Kim on Spoon Talk and say it's legal. It's not pay to play. Fonanti Kofa, $1.3 million. Beaufort Chamber, Aboche, Jua Howard Taylor, President George Manawia. And you, my fellow Liberians, you're going to sit there and open the car doors for them and wash the cars to earn a little $5 to take home to your family members. It's no friendship. President where I need to go. It's no friendship. It's no relationship. If you love the president, just ask him to go. That's the best we can do as a nation. That's the best we can do as a people. That's the best we can do. This generation must benefit from the natural resources of our country. This generation, at least we will reap the blessing of Liberia. Not just the few, Eugene Nangbe, not just them. Enough is enough, my fellow Liberians. It's time for the real change. And I will say this, some may not like it. Because they say, oh, CEO, you're part of the party. No, I'm part of no party, but the Liberian people, because. And I will say, that's what I would say every day. Give me Joseph Boakai. Give me Alexander Cummings. Give me Tewan Gonglo. Give me them, the rest of them. I see the better change for Liberia. But give me George Manawia. It's 6 feet under. It's more poverty. Come on, guys. Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, 5, 6. And you think you will get a different result? These guys will leave you to go watch the Arsenal games. They will leave you and go take another 2-3 months out of the country. They will leave you with $200,000 to go rent their cars, rent a car. They will leave you to eat the lobsters. They will leave you, my friend. That's why it is important for you to understand that we play this song. If I go just one more time, I beg you. Just one more time. Let's just play just them song one more time. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Well, for my closing, it's just 1 minute because your bestie allow you to take all the time. Ever since you say you're going 2 hours, you go. You sit down here. But anyways, Stanton, you did a good job. Let me remind Liberians that are listening to me. You know me, and you know what I'm capable of doing. There are signs and the writings on the wall. When Charles Taylor was in power, the Liberian people put into motion a song. Go, go, Papa, go, 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 Papa, go. You remember that song, Daniel Sando? Go, Papa, go. Now,
Go where BB book.
go where BB book, go where BB car. He was out. When Ma Ellen took over, they said, baboon, you ewa, that monkey ewa, because they were looking at the baboon as the stronger animal and being the man. And they were looking at the woman as the, the monkey was the woman. They said, baboon, you're not able, that monkey able. They sang that song. Baboon, you're not able to take care. That monkey, a monkey, you're not able to, that baboon able. Why did they sing that song? Because at the end of the day, they were looking at Madame Salif. Madame Salif gone today. They sing song they made. What are they singing now? The baboon they put there, they say, baboon, you're not able. That Bwaka able. Watch the Liberian people carefully. They elect the president through the songs they sing. The song they sang was monkey, you're not able to do that, baboon able. Now, what song are they singing? They are asking the baboon now, that baboon you able, that Bwaka. They think it can be animal. Listen to the song. It no longer can be animals now. It has to be human being and a Bwaka able. So, I speak from historical setting. History has been made. If anyone doubt that Joseph Newman Bwaka will be the next president, then you don't know Liberians and you're not following the history. They have made 2 songs now. One, Chowia Go. 2, Babu you able, that Bwaka able. I will close on this note by saying, thank you to the Liberian people for asking a question and then deciding what to do. The question they ask is, Madam Salif, you used this man for 12 years as your deputy. Time for him to be president, you didn't tell her why you did not want him to be president. You prefer George Weah over him. We gave George Weah 6 years. Look at what he has done to us. So for that reason, we don't know the reason why he didn't want him to be president, but this time around, we will put him there as president and nothing will stop us. I want to thank the Liberian people for electing Joseph Newman Bwaka as the next president. In their songs, in their attitude, in the way they are living, the way they are peaceful, and the way they are enduring the suffering, whether for harmonization or the 3-day free call, no hospitals, no food, they are going on. I want to thank them, and I want to tell them that they are invited in January 2024 at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex for the inauguration ceremony. They will be our guests of honor. Thank you. I respectfully submit. You muted.
I was just saying, okay, good night. Everybody's bye. See y'all later. Right? See you later. Thank you. I
Hey,
can hear
your
you.
best friend. When he come for you tomorrow, don't call my name. I will be looking for any better.
See you, man, Paco. Let me
So
go.
they are
Eat.
your best friend. Yeah, son. Y'all come and get grandchildren if you did.
Let me go. Bye. See you.
To get your information.
Well, folks, we want to say thanks a lot to you out there tonight for being part of the program Spoon Talk. Whether in the comment section, following Spoon TV Live, Fabric TV Live, or Super TV Online, or listening to your radio Spoon FM 107.5, Fabric Radio 101.1, or Super 95.5 FM. Thanks for following. My name is Nelson Colette. James Gude Flomo has also been here. Together we've been coordinating from the back end. Join us tomorrow for another fascinating edition of the program Spoon Talk. Until that time, have a good night. Bye-bye.
If the children crying for starvation, just don't spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, don't spoon. You want to know what is happening, Morocco, don't spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just don't spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, don't spoon.